And we are live. Welcome to the Digital Renegade podcast. I'm your host, Dashing Rogue, and I'm with my frequent sidekick, Artistic Layman.
What are you talking about, man?
That stupid math test we got today. I was gonna study last night, but I got kind of busy. The Minister of Mayhem squared off against Frank the Florist of Fear. You skipped studying for professional wrestling? Doesn't everybody?
Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, Spoonie does. I mean, I have a theory, Luke. I think it's administrative results. Like, you ever seen that channel on YouTube? It's like a gun tuber named Administrative Results. My fan theory is that my headcanon is that the reason he likes LARPing so much is because he met Miles Antweiler, which was Spoonie's brother, right?
Mm.
And Spoonie's brother was a Mesa police officer. You know that, right?
Yep. With Joe Arpaio.
What's up?
Alongside Joe Arpaio, right?
I'm not sure who Joe Arpaio is, but
he was the sheriff of the Maricopa County until false accusations of mistreating immigrants got him kicked out of the job or lost the election.
I don't even know who that. There's a lot of weird stuff happening in my county right now. My county, yeah, it is my county. It's not big enough for it's big enough for certain people, let's just say. But one thing I don't tolerate in Maricopa is the 10-cent California bag tax. Have you seen this, Luke?
No, it's
So I go into Scottsdale because Scottsdale is where the rich people are.
Mm-hmm.
And I go into Savers, and these motherfuckers give out. They say, "Okay, do you want to have it bagged? It's gonna be 10 cents." I'm like, "What the fuck is this, California? No. Don't comply. Don't comply with these cunts." They're trying to basically say, in order for you to get your groceries, you have to have a 10-cent, tax. Fuck that. Don't tolerate that shit. Stay away from that crap. Anyhow, things are changing. I don't know. Do we have a leftist sheriff or do we have a good sheriff? What do you think we have, Luke?
Who's in charge right now? I heard it was some. Well, last time I checked, it was someone selected by George Soros. But let me check that.
Jesus Christ.
Well, there's an election on the corner. The election on the corner, so it could change.
I hope it's somebody good.
Let's see. Sheriff's office. Who's the sheriff? I should know this by now. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Someone named Russ Skinner. What's his story?
Mr. Skinner.
It's not the same guy as I remember before, but he was appointed to Maricopa County. Okay. Oh wait, Russ Skinner was appointed by the Maricopa Board of Supervisors. Oh, great. The same people who delayed the recounting the election to serve as Maricopa County Sheriff, followed by Ralph Ponzone. Pal Ponzone. That was George Soros' guy. He's only been in the position since February.
Yeah.
Why was he dismissed, I wonder?
But be that as it may, I don't know. I don't know about you, but like Recess, like I whenever I hear, is it Spinelli? I think it is, right?
Yeah.
I hear Timmy from from Fairly Odd Parents. I can't unhear it.
I mean, it is the same voice actor who does Bobby from King of the Hill and Rusty from The Big Guy and Rusty.
It is, isn't it?
Yep.
Jeez. And those people, I don't know. I don't know. I'm on a sort of like nostalgia trip right now. Like I kind of been building up my my archive. You see my archive lately, Luke. I got like half of the series of Hogan's Heroes. At freaking I didn't even watch Hogan's Heroes. All I know is that Recess is based off of it, or like inspired by it to a certain degree.
You can see it when you play the intro.
Yeah, it has that. Yeah, it even then, like if you want to know about Recess, look around them, right? I think in every shot in Recess, like when they're all out on Recess, you can see the fences.
Yep.
You can see the fences. The fences are there for a reason. It's not just an homage to Hogan's Heroes. They're there to keep you there. They're there to keep you nice and controlled. So you're just another brick in the wall. Have you actually, speaking of Recess, there's actually a very, very wonderful, now that I say wonderful, I don't know if it's considered wonderful or not, but Have you seen the Box episode? And you know what I'm talking about when I say the Box.
Oddly enough, I just saw it today.
Oh, Luke! Beautiful. What were your thoughts of it? And I knew you'd like to tell people the premise of it.
Basically, the Watcher of the Field, Miss Finster, he comes up with an idea of how to discipline the children. The way they do it is basically a form of solitary confinement called the Box. Basically, she takes a trouble student, puts in the box, and forbids anyone from communicating with him. And apparently, the main character who gets stuck in it, TJ, he apparently gets some sort of like shell shock, or what's the right word would you describe it as?
Well, I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean, the way they describe it, the way he reacts to it, it's like he's been fucking, put through Russian roulette in Nam or some shit. Like he's like Chinese water torture. Like he comes out like a POW.
He's curling up in a ball, like singing, "This old man, he played one. He played knick-knack on my thumb."
Fucking child's entertainment teaching us about PTSD and early childhood trauma. God. Oh man.
Oh, they could never make that today. Oh my god.
They could never do it because again.
And you just
that was
know,
ballsy.
Yeah, you just know.
Ballsy.
And you seen the episode of The Experiment, right?
I might have. I don't know it by that name. Go and describe it.
It's when they first learn about kissing, and they're facing the horror of, wait, guys and girls actually enjoy kissing each other. That can't be true. Kids are like.
I have not seen that one. I don't recall that one. I think another one that I liked was when Spinelli's parents, like, they find out that Spinelli's parents are like just weirdos.
Yeah, they're the absolute most embarrassing parents in the world. And but
one of them's an agent.
But I have to take back my statement of being an SJW show, because if it was, they would have tried to make Spinelli into a butch lesbian. You just know that they would.
They would have done that with her and Gretchen Grundler. Fucking. Sticks. Speaking of Sticks, what has Birdman been doing lately?
Oh, what has he been doing lately?
I mean, let's look up our little bird, because he is a bird. Okay, he's gone full femto on. No, he hasn't. No, Spencer has gone full femto, because he went full Griffith back in Charlottesville, right? He sacrificed all his men. Okay, here's one for you. Neocolonialism. That's another thing that's fun. Oh, speaking of neocolonialism, machine guns are protected. They discovered that they made a constitutional a big case that apparently machine guns are protected under the Second Amendment. Oh, I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Nice.
Yeah. So let's see if I can get the Birdman. He's been out in a while. Like, I haven't really been watching a lot of his stuff because he hasn't been, admittedly, not streaming. Like, he doesn't stream except during like the frickin' the weekdays. But here's one for you. New corporate colonialism. Him and Johnny Silverhands. We know who Johnny Silverhands is, right?
Who was that again?
He's a Keanu Reeves character from Cyberpunk. The guy who apparently Razorfist was copied off of, I think.
Oh, huh. Interesting.
Countries and with nation.
Corporate neocolonialism.
Yeah.
What is this?
Oh,
this
no,
is...
Talk about corporate
Keep playing it.
Colonialism, because there's sort of a microcosm of the colonial mindset going on right now within business. Now, this is not an unendorsement of capitalism. I happen to be an uber capitalist, actually. I believe that a person should be able to...
Does that mean you're beyond capitalism, or does that mean you're a super capitalist? Does that mean that you're above capitalism, like some third positionist? What are we talking?
What timing? I'm going to distract horribly from the topic, but I finally I found a free copy of Cenk Uygur's book, Justice is Coming, and I have to read this section of it. So he calls himself, he actually sets a section where he calls himself a Democrat capitalist. not a social conservative, not a democratic socialist, but a Democrat capitalist. And you know why?
Why?
Quote, "So why do I bother giving it a different name? Let me explain. First of all, Democrat capitalism sounds better. Not to the younger generation, but to the older Americans, it gives them a peace of mind. You explain it by saying it's capitalism checked by democracy. OMG, it's... Oh, he doesn't say that, but I just say that. it's comfortable as an old blanket or your favorite couch on a fall afternoon. Who isn't going to love that? And when you explain all the policies, you know what it sounds like: Democrat capitalism. Let's see, but at least at the day, but here's the more reason. I don't achieve. And he basically, but later on he says, it doesn't matter what way they call ourselves. The point is, it helps to win elections.
Yeah, it's marketing, right?
But but then when he says things like, I don't actually believe in socialism or merely accurately what socialism is confused for communism. I believe in private industry. Well, I'm sorry, Jank. When you just explained to us that you're willing to change your name just because it sounds better, I think you're lying to me in every single sentence of this book.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna take a nice walk, Luke. We're not gonna break your legs. What are you talking about? You're sleeping with the fishes tonight, along with Birdman.
Although it is also interesting what he chooses and not chooses to put footnotes to. But that's another topic. I won't detract too long.
Actually, you bought some of Styx's books before. Does he have footnotes in his books? Like, does he actually cite the shit that he espouses?
I didn't even see... the book I saw was nothing more than a collection of, like, tantric spells and instructions of how to read them. Like, the most instructive thing I said is, hold the book and read it, or have someone else read the book so you can confidently say them. It's just a series of incantations and spiritual nonsense to get you into the mindset of invoking the ancient spirits. And so, I mean, the whole thing is pretty much copying word for word what ancients have said, and so there's nothing really... I don't know if there's anything of original in his work.
He's a data aggregator. Like, what he does is he does the same thing that what's his name, fucking Growing Pains, Kirk Cameron does, right? What did Kirk Cameron do with the Origin of Species? He basically just republished it, but he basically made it his own by putting a bunch of citations of stuff that Darwin actually said and Darwin believed, and all this like political racism and shit like that, like evolutionary racism applied to it.
Although I recently had a revelation about that. I'm almost now convinced that Darwinian evolution, as described by random mutation and natural selection, is just a biological version of alchemy.
You think it's biological alchemy?
Yeah, I mean, natural, random mutation, natural selection, two words that technically don't have any actual connection to nature itself, but are used to describe a kind of conscious choice on unconscious nature. That sounds like alchemy, like a dialectical process or alchemy transformation.
So it's almost like all eugenics is epigenetic.
Oh yes, I mean Marx himself in his whole 7th chapter, it gives the implicit argument that men emerge out of nature, they transform nature, which transforms man, transforms nature, transforms man, in a constant cycle into like an omega point, like Hegel would suggest.
An omega point, like it's omega point makes it sound way more culty than it actually is.
And you're gonna love the very final chapter that Sink has. I don't know if I told you this one. I know I told you this in person, but I just have to read it here. Here it is. Like the very end, his very ending of the book, he actually talks about how conservatives have nothing to worry. The conservatives are going to lose, but don't worry, you're going to be with us. You'll be on the winning side. Isn't it too great to be on the winning side of history? Which, oh, good grief, I'm so sick of that phrase. Let's see. Force of tradition, legacy, the status quo are always in charge until all of a sudden they're not, and the city is ours. But let's see. Oh, here it is. I'm going to actually... the only constant is change. So when we win, then we will calcify and become the new establishment. Money will creep in again, as it always does. Then the new groups will arise, and they will challenge our power. They will craft a way around our chains and cannons, and a new progressives will be born, and then they will win because destiny is on their side. Like, Cenk Uygur's a dialectic. Oh my gosh.
Cenk Uygur's a Kantian.
Oh no, he's not. No, he's not Kantian. He's a Hegelian. He's like, I mean, Hegel got the idea from Kant, but Hegel took it as a whole theory of society. But of course, he's following Marx too because he believes it all boils down to two forces battling each other out. That's all it is. It's all over the place. Once you finally see it, it's everywhere.
Cenk is going to complete the system of German idealism,
Oh no,
Luke.
he won't. He's admitted that he's not going to, because he fully expects himself to become conservative, and the new progressive will take him out. So he's humble in the sense that he's not going to try and end history like Marx did. Good for him.
Oh, boy.
Good for him. I gotta make a review of that book, honestly. It's so much fun.
Oh, dude. Jeez, it does sound fun. You make Cenk Water Buffalo Yu-Gi-Oh! Sound like a freaking sound fun.
Only because we have the gnosis. Anyway, I'm sorry, I got distracted.
We are the enlightened ones.
I'm sorry, I'm distracting. Let's get back to Sticks.
Cultivate their crops, chop the wood, do whatever they want to do, profit off of it, and be left alone. I don't really like government. Monopolism and corporatism stems from government power, actually. That is,
which government power?
Over its competitors.
The government power.
Our government power, China government power, Russia. One of the no, think about this. Like in a sense,
well, seriously, government power, because a corporation is only as power as a government allows them to. So unfortunately, our government's allowing it to happen. Even if it's China, China got in because we let it. Because the government let them in.
Yes, but at the same time, China could get in, and we let a lot of things in. I mean, I don't think we can be so specific to say, yeah, anything connected to China, we won't do business with unless we say otherwise. If we say explicitly we will not do any business with China, China cannot have any resources, businesses, any trade or whatever, sharing of resources or what have you. If we have something like that on the record, that would be great, but we don't, right? So, I mean, I don't know. Keep going.
By the government, and sort of like the affirmative action sort of thing. I've used the analogy before. Let's say that I have a store, and I sell 2 different varieties of bread, and I promote one of them and say, this bread is so great, and this is an equivalent of affirmative action. Am I insulting the other loaf of bread? No. The other bread brand, I'm not insulting it in any way, but I'm still demoting it because I'm promoting its competitor. This is what happens within corporate monopolism. So, for example, the U.S. government partners with Google, it partners with Apple, it partners with these large tech firms to the detriment of potential competitors. It creates a monopolistic market. But corporate neocolonialism, in and of itself, is even more pernicious than that. Basically, there are people who will claim to be progressive. They'll make their upper echelon office look like a bowl of Skittles and claim that it's progress. Meanwhile, they're doing business in countries like China, where 12-year-olds are working 60-hour shifts, or in India, where little kids are being exploited, or they're mining blood.
But there's no toilets.
Like that.
There's literally no toilets in India, Luke. Like, they literally shit in the streets. One of the pictures that, for like the Indians like service rifle, right, has shit in it. It literally has a dog dropping in it, or like some sort of like poo in it. And it's gotten to the point where like these guys are called poos for a reason. It's not just some. And then of course there's also the rampant sexual fucking assault going on. I mean, you remember that Asian girl who was basically stalked by that Indian guy that I doxed, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, apparently he's back online. Apparently he got his account back, and I've been following his ass lately. So we're gonna find out if there's gonna be a part 2 of this type of shit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but like seriously, a lot of these corporations. He's correct about this. They do basically weaponize, slave labor in some of these countries. Which again, hate to be the guy that says this, but you gotta do with the population you have, not the population you'd like to have. Some of these people can't take it. They just can't learn fast enough, and they have to be individualized. And then you have to try to make it to scale. There's translation errors and translation barriers. They're better off as slaves. Now the real question here is: do the slaves get to have a good purchasing power? Do the lives of the slaves get predominantly better? That's what I'd like to know. No.
And with nations that don't really care about human rights at all. I fail to see how this is progress. I do not believe that this is progressive at all. I think that it's more regressive. It's basically neocolonialism. What it is you're putting a smiley face on something very ugly. You're literally putting lipstick on a pig at that point. And this corporatism is enabled by governments. It's not. Some people, like the left, they'll say, "Well, that's the evil of capitalism, man. We're exploiting people." No. It's not capitalism. Capitalism is that 12-year-old should be able to get a good education, do what they want. If they want to work, they can. If they don't want to work, get an education. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, but Stakes, you're using the rational version of capitalism, not the Marxist version. That's what and they don't care what you think about it.
Yeah, and even if it is rational, you assume like what do you say? They should be able to do whatever the hell they want. Well, Sticks, I don't want, rampant promiscuity in my society. As much as I like the idea of fucking that cute little redhead, I'd much rather live in a society where someone would be begging to ask her out, essentially. And then, they hopefully, commingle and ultimately get married, right? So doing what you want and applying these virtues to capitalism, is a very bad idea. Capitalism is not. I think Tucker Carlson said it best. It's not God. You don't have to bow and worship it, right? You can stand up against it and say, hey, we don't want that strip club right next to a preschool. And no, we're not capitalist or communist because we have zoning laws. People like Sticks are the type of people who, the government loves, because they're the type of people who will create legislation, who will create examples of people trying to say, no, you can't have, let's say, a kiddie pool right next to a strip club. You can't have, let's say, a nuclear plant next to, let's say, a petting zoo. That's stupid ideas and shit like that. He's the type of people who people will go to the government. He'll bitch about the government. Yeah, he's the one who brought it about, or people like him brought it about. So he'll say, "Oh, it's the free market, bro," and then people get pissed off. They go and vote they vote with their vote, and then you wonder why we're less free, right? I don't know. That's just me. I don't like leftists, spiritual leftists. Otherwise,
we are being very ungenerous about Sticks' analogy right here.
Yeah, but he did get correct about there's governments. It's plural, and some of these governments are defending themselves from other governments. Hence why it's a constant battle with it. I hate to be the guy who says I'm a corporatist, but I kind of fucking am, simply because I'm part of that system. I'm a corpo. What the fuck can I say? I've gone to the top. I've gone to the pinnacle, and I've given the people who are bitching are the ones who actively are suffering under the policies of the government. But at the same time, it's those policies are in place to protect us against other governments and other people. Problem here is that the shit that is like actually seeable doesn't get fixed. Look at the freaking border, or the lack thereof. Yeah, I said it. Keep going.
To do individualism. That's the whole root point of capitalism, of a free market society. What you're actually criticizing, ironically enough, is the same leftism that you yourself are promoting. You're criticizing socialism, basically. In these countries where this exploitation takes place, and which these corporations, which are centrally monopolized by the U.S. government, or by other Western governments, you do not have a free market system. You don't have free trade. You have exploitative trade. Yeah, definitely. I believe in free trade coffee myself. I'm sure that Jam and Bean isn't enslaving any Colombian children, for example. That's the name of the game. You have a neo-colonial aspect to the modern business structure. It's not created by the businesses themselves. It's created by government. It's socialistic in nature, actually. In fact, the new colonialism tends to be not just left-leaning, but explicitly in some cases communistic. For example, locations in parts of the world. They pulled a little bit of a hoodwink with the Nicaragua Canal, which was planned originally, and I correctly predicted that was just to set up a military base, and then they would use an excuse, local farmers protesting, to not complete the canal because it made no sense, because the Panama Canal was already being massively expanded, for example. You look at East Africa. There are political parties in East Africa with a single issue platform of kick out the Chinese. And while I don't have any problem with the Chinese themselves, no Chinese person ever fucked me in the ass, China, in and of itself, at the government level, is massively exploitative, is extremely colonialistic, and has much wider ambitions for the world. There's a reason.
Yeah, speaking of, here's an example. Here's such an example, Luke, of colonialist bullshit from Africa. Here we go. Right here. Here we go. This is what we're dealing with.
What is this?
This is the yellow man's burden. He's whipping him.
Oof.
He's belting them.
Chinese man physically assaulting and beating his African employees.
Yep. The new colonialism. And people are like, why are you so after the Chinese? Like, this is why. This is one of the many reasons why.
If this was a white man, everyone would care.
Yep.
And it was really annoying that Chinese cannot be white adjacent, so they don't care. They really don't care. I mean, they didn't care when the. It's really because leftists didn't care when the Uyghurs were being put in concentration camps. They're not going to care about this. It's all about they're literally there's no nice way of saying it. They are literally racists. They can't, because they need a white man to hate, and if they're not white, well, you don't get hated ever.
Yep, they need to have their god. They need to have their devil. They need to have their paradise. They need to have their perdition. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's move on. Let's move on from Styx's speeches about the world. Let's go and look at something else here.
Just a quick comment. Apparently, I think Arizona got rid of. What did they do? They mandated. I forget what they did with their. Let me just check this real quick.
All right, everyone. Now we turn to Arizona. There is good news to report. Yes, the Supreme Court ruling with regards to voter registration and proof of citizenship.
Oh, you have to prove you're an American citizen to vote. Yes, in Arizona.
Good.
Finally.
Good. Good. Maybe we could good. But the problem here is what's going to happen is a bunch of people are going to go social security number go burr because everyone got hacked because of the cloud strike thing, right?
Yeah, just like
so
how 2 years ago, how the machine just mysteriously broke.
Yeah, again, I'm not hopeful, but at the same time, we got our work cut out for us, mate. We really, really do.
Although every time this happens, it just reinforces the idea that the political elites really don't care about the ahoy polloi. I mean, it's just so annoying. Like Jimmy Dore was observing this when he was talking about the rally in the Trump rally in Arizona, which I didn't have a chance to go quite to yet. But I didn't have a chance to go. But JFK Jr. got up on stage and announced all the things that Democrats used to support, and Jimmy Dore was like, "The Republicans are cheering on Democrat populist talking points. What the heck is going on here?"
So you didn't get to go.
Nah.
What time was it again?
Oh, it started at, well, the way rallies work is they open up really early so you can get in. If the speaking started at the door opens at 11, their speaking started at 12, but Trump doesn't show up until 4. And what's really interesting, I didn't know this, but Trump was actually doing a rally in Vegas that very night, and so he came out afterwards.
So where's the aftermath?
But still, like, that moment, like, I kind of wish I was there, but I've been to Trump rallies, and you've been to one rally you don't really need to see anymore, but JFK Jr. was there. And it's like, oh wow, this legacy of the old Democratic world is not only giving up his campaign, but endorsing Donald Trump. Oh, this is great.
I hope he makes it, dude. I really hope he does.
And if they don't win this time around, either they know the elite can't get away with it, or they either know they can't get away with it, but they do. It's going to be too suspicious. It'll be no, there's no way that Trump didn't win this time around.
Here we go. Here's something for you.
But maybe I'm being too optimistic.
This is sad.
Genetically modified skeptic. How 2025? Oh, okay. Who's genetically modified skeptic? What's he complaining about?
Hey guys.
Oh, it's just the local anti-Christian agitprop.
Some put on the screen here.
Today, I am honored to have President of American Atheists, Nick Fish, joining us. Nick, can you tell us a little bit about...
American Atheists, are you the secular humanist group, that quasi-Gnostic organization? Like, come on.
Well, here's the thing. You'll know them by their fruit, and you'll know them by how they open their mouth. I don't want to censor atheists. I just wish people would realize that atheism as a movement is the problem. It's not the individual atheists. They're hit or miss like every other group of people. But when you have people united in a lack of belief, you will see something take that fill the void. And in this case, you'll see what that is. Play it.
Let's see. It's American Atheists, right? That's his group.
Yeah.
I'll try to find something like a statement of belief or non-belief.
We'll
see if I can find it.
He says it. Here we go.
What you do at American Atheists.
Christian. Oh, they're worried about Christian nationalism. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
These people are tools for the Democrats. It's so stupid. Like, oh, we're not going to be slaves to the religious mind. We're not going to be religious zombies for like a non-existent god. No, you'll just be zombies for the establishment. Great job there.
You just run the place. What does American Atheists do?
Yeah, just kind of sit around and make sure everybody's doing their job. No,
it's like, and just say quickly, it's like Rod Little once said, like a British documentary. He said, "I find all the atheists need an organization to say that they don't believe in something."
Exactly. But it's identitarian. It's an identity politics, and that's why atheism will always inevitably evolve into atheism plus. Mm-hmm. It always will evolve. And atheism plus is the natural evolution of atheism.
really long, fantastic history dating back to the early 1960s.
Well, apparently new atheism specifically, but I've been told that new atheism was just an invention by theists to demonize them. Like,
Oh, theists. Just say what you mean. What you say. Say Christians. Say it like you fucking mean it. Say we Christians did it.
He did say evangelicals or something to the effect of that.
Oh, dude, you know, I when they start going after the neo-pagans, that's when I start paying attention. When they start going after the New Agers, that's when I start giving a fuck. But until they start either standing up against Judaism, Islam, New Age, Buddhism, whatever it might be, I want to see something else besides, Christianity be criticized here. Because at this point, atheism is just socialism. You know, that's what it is. They all want to be central planners. They all want to be priests.
But as long as they don't admit what they believe, they can never be held accountable.
And that's why we always criticize them, and we get to watch them as they fuck around, and we find out. Keep playing.
Founder of American Atheist, Madeline Marie O'Hare, was one of the people who helped get mandatory compulsory.
Oh, and she died a wonderful death. Oh boy.
Who was that?
Amelia O'Hare.
Who's that?
Oh, the founder of American Atheists. She
how did she die a wonderful death?
She was the woman who basically made the legal cases that prayer should never be in schools, and that even I'm pretty sure she would have gotten the Pledge of Allegiance removed from God under God. But basically, one of the people who used to work under her, they fired. He kidnapped her and one of her children and killed them in front of each other.
Wait, so what happened to her?
I'll actually get the Wikipedia article.
She died a wonderful death. That Luke, 2024. Luke, she died a wonderful death.
I mean, it's a death that a horrible atheist would want. Oh, but I wonder. Oh, Amelia O'Hare, an atheist. I'll find it eventually.
Out of public schools. I've been with the organization for about 12 years now, working in a variety of roles. But we have a really fantastic team that works on litigation, state policy, federal policy, but also a lot of data work and helping understand atheist and non-religious people, helping support atheist communities, building really strong, thriving spaces to be atheists and not have to worry about facing discrimination or stigma.
What's an atheist?
It's all identity politics, dude.
Oh wow, let's see. Wait, Holocaust denial in the article Holocaust downplayed the Holocaust, although it's not generally reported. Auschwitz was simply first and foremost a slave labor camp, and the labor provided was much needed in the social clump. It's just I'm over and over again. The analysis of the situation comes with facts to you. The Germans had nowhere near train capacity to halt. Oh, easy, O'Hare. You don't want to get in trouble.
Oh boy, calm down.
How did she die? Oh yeah, kidnapping and murder. In 1995, O'Hare, her son John, and her granddaughter Robin disappeared from their home and office. A typewriter note was attached to the locked office door saying, "O'Malley O'Hare family has been called out of town on an emergency basis." Blah 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 blah. When police entered O'Hare's home, it looked as if they had left all of a sudden. Until September 27th, American atheist O'Malley O'Hare. Let's see. After September's end, no further communication came. The American atheists were facing serious financial problems because of funds, investigations, and arrests. Where is it? Estranged son. He noted that investigation from reporters, agents, and FBI agents along and conclude that Walter and his accomplices had kidnapped 3 of the members, forced them to withdraw funds, gone on several shopping sprees with their money, and killed and dismembered all 3.
God damn.
A few days later, O'Hare and her son were killed. A few days later, O'Hare and her son and granddaughter were killed. Walter's O'Hare killed Fry. The body was found on a riverbed in Ridgewell, Dallas, Texas, but his head and hands were missing. As a result, his remains were not identified for 3 years. When reporter Monk investigated, led to the investigation of the bodies might be Fry's. Whew.
That is a glorious death there.
I can only guess that they were forced to watch each one of them happening. But who was the? I think it was who was the killer?
Who was the killer?
I thought he was related to the David. Led the investigation of focus of David Ron Walters, a violent history started working for American Atheists. Walters had pled guilty to stealing from $54,000 from the organization. When the Waters received a lenient sentence, published an article. She published an article in a newsletter to watch as she exposed the theft of money along with the previous crimes. Oh, she just made the bad choice of hiring the wrong guy because I guess she was an atheist.
To be united in disbelief is a fragile alliance.
To be united in ire is to be not united at all.
Yep.
In whatever group it is that they're part of, and so giving them the resources to be to really flex a little bit as atheists.
Just look at Stalin and Trotsky.
have a place in our communities.
So speaking of discrimination against non-religious Americans, we need to talk about Project 2025 and also its crossover with Agenda 47, the official Republican or Trump policy for 2024-2025. Can you tell us what Project 2025 actually is for people who don't know?
I look forward to quoting it so I can actually read it accurately, please.
Yeah, so Project 2025 is essentially a blueprint for, and this is what is written in the document itself, a blueprint for a conservative future president, hypothetical future president, who knows who that might be. Item by item, it's essentially both as I said, a blueprint, a roadmap, but also a wish list for some of the most extreme policies out there that the white Christian nationalist
white Christian national.
movement has been pushing for the better part of 60, 70 years. These are items
The white Christian nationalist movement didn't exist 60 years ago, you creep.
Yeah, well, the black Christian nationalists exist.
Oh, are they Christian nationalists, though?
The black Christian, the Latino Christian nationalists, Luke.
thing like completely destroying and gutting the administrative state, making it much harder.
And that's a bad thing?
Well, how else are they going to middle manage everything, Luke?
You promise?
For federal agencies to protect clean water, reduce gun violence, ensure access to reproductive care or healthcare in general. To
reproductive care, aka smashing the heads of babies in the womb and tearing them out piece by piece. Like, yeah, that's a great America. That's a great liberation.
Right, you know, you can actually see how they try to market this shit, and to the point where they kind of believe it.
Yeah, they have to say instead just the right way, because when they say deregulation, because Trump doesn't care about taking that part out, because the regulations have tripled and quadrupled every year, and you're expecting me to think that's all for clean water and clean air? No, it's not.
Do things like gutting the Civil Rights Act, making it so that religious entities can ignore the civil rights law, civil rights protections for...
Oh, here it is.
You know, not just on the basis of religion, but on the basis of LGBTQ status, racial discrimination, a whole host of things.
Oh, this is something that that Jasenka did. Like in his book, like I pointed out, he quotes certain things, he cites certain things, not other things. Like one thing he cites, he says like thousands of people died because of lack of health insurance, and his citation was an article from 2009.
What was his article about?
The article was about this study that supposedly showed that tens of thousands of people died by virtue of the fact they didn't have health insurance. But of course, there's a question of how the study was worked and how it showed how it made the connections with correlations. But it was from 2009. You mean to tell me they haven't had gone back on the study? But earlier in that very paper, in that very chapter, he says Trump went against actually went to court and spent money against the LGBTQ community to make sure that straight people that gay people, LGBT people didn't have the same rights as trans people, but he didn't bother to put a citation. And that was kind of weird. Like, why did Singh not put a citation for that? And so I looked it up, and apparently it was about Barack Obama's exclusion of having people having restrictions on the basis of sex or gender identification, like sexual orientation and gender identification, and that's the problem. Singh could not find an article to make that not stupid, because sexual orientation, hypothetically, is what you're born with, and gender identification is what you choose. And those are completely different things. You can't go against people for what they are born, but you can go against them for what they choose, and he can't excuse that. And that's what this stupid thing's about.
I was gonna say this is all mission creep, but that's also good. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. What does this have to do with atheism? What do LGBT, WXYZ, a silent Q, and a Batman symbol have to do with atheism?
They're fellow travelers. That's what they are.
No, but I'm asking this to the people who would be skeptical. You and I both know they're fellow travelers. They're all leftists in that regard. Mm-hmm. But besides being leftists, and atheism is not exclusively leftist.
How does lack of belief lead to any of this stuff? Can someone please explain that to me?
I know how it gets to that.
How does it?
Nature doesn't like vacuums. Look at black holes.
But how does lack of belief lead to these leftist positions specifically?
Because if you look at the death of God. Look what happened in France, right? Mm-hmm. He had that rogue Pierre motherfucker, right? For the rogue Frenchman goes in and he basically separates the people, the sheep on the right and the goats on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And those people who are the goats, the greatest of all time, because they're the greatest motherfuckers out there, right? They managed to say, you know, we're going to make government perfect. We're going to make government the way we want it. We're going to make government the way we think should be. And all those loyalists to the crown, those right-wing fuckers, you know, get rid of them. That's why they all go to leftism. They all go to leftism because leftism is the alternative to divine right of kings. But there's a middle ground to it as well.
Oh?
The middle ground is America. America with the system of checks and balances, respecting the rights of individuals instead of just saying, let's all gang up on, let's say, the upper class or the bourgeoisie, right?
Yeah, but that would be fundamentally anti-goat. Because goats can't have that. They want a social construct where everything works for everybody, especially for them.
Yep, and that's why, you can't be a goat or a sheep. You have to be a good shepherd.
And further, obviously, I mean, it's literally every conceivable terrible policy you can imagine wrapped up into one package. And so when we talk about this, I think it's important to say, that this is...
Which you've misled and lied about so far in this 2-minute interview. In the first 2 minutes of this interview.
Well, I mean, it's genetically modified skeptic has, like, Satanist people operating in the background.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, no, he's like literally, I think he's dating a Satanist girl, or whatever, and she's not even a cool like zini quazini. Oregon Smackhead. Smackhead actually has more integrity. I would love to see Smackhead go against these people. Smackhead really quite literally we could have like a spin-off series of Smackhead and his adventures.
Partisan organization, but this has an ideology behind it. It has an ideological motivation, and that core ideology that's at root here is white Christian nationalism.
BS. It's the Heritage Foundation, you creep.
It's white Christian nationalism, not that black Christian nationalism or that Latin Catholic nationalism.
But not Chinese supremacy. No, not Han supremacy. Oh no.
Oh yeah, it's not Chinese supremacy. It's Han supremacy.
I think it's important to remember that this isn't just an atheist issue or a progressive issue or whatnot. This is a really, really extreme agenda that they've laid out here. That the more everyday Americans read about it, hear about it, the more they're horrified and appalled at what's in those pages.
I've looked over most of it, and I don't see a problem with that. My only fear is that they're not going to take it seriously. That they won't bother taking it seriously.
Yeah, I want to make sure before we get into this to say that it's not just atheists or non-religious people that would be negatively affected if the policies we're talking about in this document were enacted or even just provide inspiration for legislation. It's also
how the Project 2025 targets atheists and non-religious Americans, which basically just means we're targeting mystics. We're targeting mystics, Luke. That's what we're targeting. We're not targeting Hindus. We're not targeting, Jews. We're not targeting fucking Abrahamic religions. We're targeting the mystics.
Many religious people, many diverse people groups that are advocating against this kind of thing.
It's diverse. Take a drink. That's word.
Take a drink. All right, you got it. I'm going to do it now, too.
It's not trying to single out one specific group of people and cast aspersions on them, oppress them. It is elevating one specific group of people and trying to kind of denigrate everybody else, which is why I think so many people across the religious spectrum have kind of joined the fight against this.
Yeah.
Luckily, there are Christians out there who themselves work very hard to oppose Christian nationalism. One such Christian is journalist and author Tim Alberta, author of the excellent...
Thank you for buying into the myth of it. I mean, I oppose Christian nationalism because it's socialism, but you'll never say that. That's why I oppose it.
But you don't have the divine gnosis to be able to run it effectively like the atheist does. They're more rational than you, don't you know?
Yeah, because I have a feeling I don't know Tim Alberta, but I'm pretty sure he would also denounce this atheism nonsense. He would not be on your side.
Book, The Kingdom, the Power, and the Glory, American Evangelicals in an Age of Extremism. He exposes...
Yeah, maybe I should put that... Oh, wait. Right. Yeah, this is one of those...
Let him finish, Luke.
I know.
Christian nationalism for what it is. A cynical grab for power. You can easily get the key ideas...
Oh, so everything you do.
Yeah.
It's only bad when Christians do it.
Yep. When we want to exercise our political muscle, We're evil for doing it in the name of the Lord.
And what's
But
worse-
you do it in the name of nothing, motherfucker, because that's what it is. It's nothing.
But it's what's worse. It's not. They're not technically Christian nationalists. Quote unquote. Would not even consider us one of them. We're not on their side. But it's a version of them that they don't approve of. Like, oh no, they're not the true socialists. We're the true. They're the Mensheviks. We're the Bolsheviks.
Yeah.
Oh, good grief.
In this book in just 16 minutes by reading or listening to the excellent Blink found on Blinkist, this video's sponsor. The Blinkist app helps you understand the most important things from over 60...
And of course, it's an ad.
But you and American atheists have been very vocal specifically against religious conservative efforts to, let's say, reform the educational system in a way that favors religious education.
Look at
I'm
his
wondering if you see a
face.
continuation of that under Project 2025.
Yeah, and it's not just a favoring of religious education. It's a gutting, wholesale gutting, and kneecapping of the American public education system.
As if it wasn't already. And especially in liberal cities where like near more than half of all the kids aren't at a reading their grade level of reading or math. That's terrible.
I mean, I can't spell, dude.
Well,
What?
We're online folks. We don't know how to spell. But when people in high school don't know how to read or write, that's kind of a problem.
I mean, I can read and write. I just don't feel like it.
Count. I gotta find that article video.
Oh God.
It's not just creating, exemptions or allowances for religious education systems, though those are also in there. It's taking things like what's happening in Arizona, where they created from whole cloth this voucher scheme that was roundly rejected by taxpayers and voters in Arizona, then turned around and created by the legislature, and is bankrupting the state. And I don't mean just the state's education budget, I mean the entire state. There are no cost controls, the costs are spiraling out of control in Arizona, to the point where they're facing a multi-billion-dollar shortfall because they're giving money, allowing people to go to private school, to pay for people to go to private school, who are already going to private school. These are rich families who don't need the extra money. Taking it out of the pockets of people who are in public school, taking it out of the pockets of people who need food assistance or any type of other program, to pay for rich families to send their kids to overwhelmingly religious schools.
This is the general's law. The middle class always looks after itself.
Yeah, but those middle class are fucking white Christian nationalists, so they have to die.
Yeah, and as if there's a law, because it almost sounds like Christian nationalism is just an excuse when we would say corruption, but that's unsellable. We have to say it's white Christian nationalism.
Well, you have to understand, white Christian nationalism is the same boogeyman that Russia uses, right? When it decides to say, oh, well, we're against LGBT, WXYZ, and silent Q, and we're going to enforce it selectively. It's the same thing. They're doing it whenever, like, they literally have boogeymen that they could literally just go up to you and say, you are a white Christian nationalist, Luke. You are literally you literally are a white based Christian nationalist.
And they want to nationalize that program. That's what this is all about. This is, as I said, it's a wish list. It's a.
Could you actually give me the example of that? Oh, he's not. He's just saying all vouchers mean that. So yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, we don't want to have an opportunity to send our kids to more reusable schools. We're just going to use this bad example of it to say that they're all like that. Yeah, great. Yeah. Oh, you could easily do that with public schools, though. So I don't know why that's an argument.
Academics get the bullet too in Minecraft Warzone 3. I legitimately have no tolerance for academics, to the point where I actually kind of I've adopted the Billy Butcher strategy when it comes to academics. Do not negotiate with these people. They need to just, okay, turn around and face the wall, please. Turn around and face the wall. Put your head on the desk. Put your big head on the desk. Be quiet. Keep going.
Agenda that dates back not to 10 years ago. This isn't a Trumpy thing. This dates back all the way to the earliest days of the opposition to the civil rights era, where groups set up explicitly to oppose public education because public education was integrated, and they created these segregation academies, essentially.
Oh, wow. We're really going to go that far with it, aren't we?
We're going to go that far, Luke.
To allow people to not have to send their kids to integrated schools. And so when we talk about this in the
so Democrats.
Context of the white Christian nationalist movement, that's why it's so important. That's why we really emphasize the white Christian nationalist part of this. That it's not just Christians. It's not just all parts of those are included in this. The racism, the decades
White
of racism,
Christian capitalist patriarchy nationalists.
Mm-hmm. Is there the difference between the two? It's well, they can't say Jewish because that'd be too offensive.
Position to government that functions, that does anything to help people, and again, a view in supremacy. In the primacy of a particular form of Christianity in American life. That's what this agenda is all about. And so it completely guts the public education system.
That's a bad thing?
Gut it, and then start again.
The Department of Education gets rid of the department's ability to enforce civil rights laws, creates loopholes and exemptions for even existing private schools and public schools, allowing them to discriminate on the basis of basically anything that they want. especially if they have a religious reason. It allows public schools, or actually mandates that public schools no longer protect the rights of LGBTQ young people. It includes things like a categorical ban on government employees from using a person's preferred name.
Wait, no public education employer or contract shall use a pronoun in addressing a student that is different from the student's biological sex without written permission of the students or guardians. Well, yes. Yeah, you can't do that without the parents' consent. The parents have to be aware of this.
Otherwise, you're just saying, Timmy, you're really a woman. And I want you to use that little behind of yours as a pussy. A bussy, if you will.
No public schools may require an education or employee contractor to use a pronoun that does not match a person's biological sex if contrary to the employer contracted religious moral convictions. Oh, what's the matter? You don't want to groom the kids?
Yeah, they're groomers.
Let's see. No public education employee contractor shall be used to name and address a student other than the name listed on the student's date of birth certificate without written permission from the student's guardians. And that's a bad... Why are these bad things? How are these bad? How is this wrong?
Well, you see, Luke, when you have a revolutionary mindset, you can't have someone else have that mindset as well.
I mean, it doesn't say never ever. It says without written permission from the parents. Like, what's wrong with that?
Well, you see, they're angry at God, who's the big daddy of them all.
Uh-huh.
Name if it doesn't align with what's on their birth certificate. My name is Nicholas. Everyone calls me Nicholas. I mean, does that extend here? Who knows? I mean, the stuff is, even though it's written by a think tank, is... Do
you need your parents' permission to have your name pronounced? Are you still going to school, pal? Good grief. Would surprise you if he thinks that children are just adults in younger, smaller bodies.
They're just individuals, Luke, just like you and me.
Remarkably sloppy and overbroad and grandiose, and people look at it for about 5 seconds and think, "Oh, this is really extreme. This is really over the top. What does this even mean?"
Says who?
Says who?
The answer is they don't care. It's about retribution. It's about punishing, LGBT people, punishing teachers. They want to jail.
Pornography manifested today in the omnipresent propagation of transgender ideology and sexualization of children, for instance, is not politically core and not inextensively binding that desperately claims about free speech, property rights, and sexual liberation of children. This has no claim to First Amendment protection. Pornography has no claim to this. It's profane. It has no place in the classroom. Its purveyors are child predators and misogynistic exploiters of women. Okay, where's the lie? Their product is addictive to any illicit drug and is psychology destructive to any crime. Pornography should be outlawed. The people outlawed at least out of the schools. The people who are producive distribution should be imprisoned. Education, public liberation, educators and public librarians who purvey it should be classed as a registered sex offender until it confirms that facilitated spread should be shuttered.
Do it. Make me a sex offender because I'm going to defend pornography.
This is supposed to be a bad thing. How is
no,
this
do
nothing?
It. Call me a sex offender because I believe in free speech. Please do it. Please do it. I mean, I'm not here's the thing. There are two things here, right? You have the argument of education when it comes to sex ed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some of this shit is like sex ed for third graders, dude. They're not even going for puberty. They're literally trying to groom kids into thinking they're gay at 3 or 4 or 7 even.
Yeah, the girls are tomboys and therefore need to have reconstructive surgery.
Yeah, well, Spinelli needs to be is a dyke. Oh. No, she's not a dyke. Spinelli is Spinelli quite literally is Timmy from fucking Fairly Odd Parents. She just doesn't know it yet. She's a Timmy.
Classify things like medically accurate sex ed as pornography, and then
it doesn't say that. For a fact it doesn't say that. Can you give me an actual example of this, you scumbag, please?
Throw those people in jail. People who are teaching sex ed, they want to throw them in jail. They want to throw librarians.
They're going to ban the books. How dare you ban books? You are a pedophile. I'm now convinced you're a pedophile, dude.
Well, I mean, look at his snout, dude.
No, I don't want to be. What's the word when you're judging people from their appearances? Homology. What's the word? When people you can base their actual traits, but physical attitude traits with the physical traits.
Oh, I don't know what the hell it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
Classify librarians as sex offenders. And I wish I was making that up. It's on page 5 of the document. You can look at it. It says anyone who produces or distributes pornography, defined as, overly broad, anything involving any sort of sexual content or sex education or anything like that, as sex offenders. And they want...
Pornography is not sexual education. Give me an example of
but-
how pornography is sexual education, my friend.
Well, here's the problem, and this is where I'm going to agree with them on this. It's one thing entirely to ban, let's say, pornography inside of, let's say, a academic environment, which I do agree with. It's another thing entirely for them to say you have to define pornography completely and utterly, like in the holistic sense. You can't do that. You just can't do it because there's always going to be that one guy who gets off to feet or tentacles or some other like body part that you. I mean, just because put the bitch in the burqa at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it does get into iffy territory when you talk about that person who made that comic autobiography of her wearing a strap on and giving them fellatio, but there's no education in that. Like that is like putting yourself in the position you can't expose that to children.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Now that being said,
any type of book or things like that. So when you hear things like, "Oh, they want to ban pornography," it's not about banning pornography.
Yes, it is.
Pornography. It's about classifying this whole range of speech as pornography, so that they can shut it down and ban it that way. So it's
It is. That is true. That is true. What he just said is true.
Technically,
here's the issue, though. What set of speech? What set of speech are we talking about here? Are we talking about, trying to show, sex acts to 3-year-olds or like 7-year-olds? Are we talking about how to masturbate to 7-year-olds?
Oh, that's kind of pushing it.
Well, are we talking? Well, again, there's that, and then there's also the idea of we're gonna go after the Pornhub, we're gonna shut down Xvideo and whatnot. The way he's describing it, it makes it sound like they're gonna go after Xvideo and freaking the Hub.
Well, that's definitely not gonna happen.
I hope that's. I hope.
I mean, can Xvideo and Pornhub be showed in public libraries deliberately?
I don't think they could, but at the same fucking time, they're talking about distribution of pornography. So what the fuck does that mean? Does that mean that the people who outside of the government, or not outside the government, let's say I go to Tijuana one day and I fuck a hooker, right? In Tijuana, I record it. Am I now considered, a sex offender? Are they going to ban? Are they going to block the Hub, like on, let's say, the ISP level? Like, there's a natural argument to be had when it comes to blocking stuff, but like when it comes to like access to the Hub, access to YouTube, access to like these things on online, I actually think there's an argument to be had doing that in, let's say, an academic environment, or having a curtailed version of YouTube, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to ban pornography like for like consumption. Let's say, like, if I want to go to the Hub right now, I am against that. I'm against the idea that if I go to the Hub right now, I'm now evil. I'm a sex offender or something like that. I'm against that. When it comes to schools, absolutely ban that shit. Ban that shit. Fucking kill it with fire. But here's the problem. He's gonna conflate this stuff. He's conflating a lot of it. Mm-hmm. Going.
It's bonkers. And I mean, that's what's on page 5, is we should be jailing librarians. Imagine what's buried on page, 7.
If you're exposing children to pornography, going to jail is the kindest thing we could do to you.
Yep.
100 of this document. It's 900 and some odd page document.
Yeah, I want to talk about how this might overlap with the official stated Republican platform for the next presidential campaign. A potential Trump presidency.
I wish.
Hey, Mike.
I wish.
What's going on? Wizard Talk, there's always use of magic words to get around. Yes, they do. They absolutely do the same thing. They love their magical wizard shit.
Would have something that they're calling universal school choice. I'll just read a section taken from the official platform. Universal school choice. Republicans believe families should be empowered to choose the best education for their children. We support universal school choice in every state in America. We will expand 529 education savings accounts and support homeschooling families equally. So this...
And that's a problem because...
But I'm telling you.
This sounds to someone who maybe isn't, maybe who is more blissfully ignorant of what's going on here.
Oh yeah, they're accusing Trump of using magical words.
Well, look at him. He's a wizard. He's a wizard.
Yeah, this is about people being free to choose what kind of education they want and being able to afford it. I was homeschooled, and that was probably the best choice for me as someone that has a chronic illness and frankly could not go to school most days.
Right.
But I'm not so sure that based on what we know from Project 2025 and what we've seen from school voucher programs kind of gutting public education, and the fact that the part of Agenda 47 is
We're going to close the Department of Education. You promise?
Please do it.
Yeah, I wish Trump could follow through with that. I don't think even if he's elected, I doubt he'll be able to. I wish he would, but I doubt he'll be able to.
I hate them. I hate academics.
How dare he go after our jobs? But we have nothing. We have to actually work for a living now.
You're gonna have to go out and work during the summer, you bastards, and you're gonna have to go to the same sterile environment that I'm in, where I can't hit on my fucking coworkers.
And for the record, both my parents were teachers, and so this is not me bashing on teachers. This is me bashing on the bureaucrats and the unnecessary superintendents who run the schools, who get most of the money. That's the problem with the Department of Education.
Well, that's one part of it, but I also hate academics in general. Like, I legitimately hate intellectuals. I don't know what it is, but you have to ask yourself this question. Why do totalitarians of every stripe, left, right, whatever the hell it might be, hate academics and hate intellectuals? Because they rationalize everything away, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They don't get with the fucking program. They're like autistic, and they just don't get the social cues that the world has changed, and now they have to change with it or die. In Minecraft Warzone 3.
Just talking about choice. What are we talking about here? What's the subtext?
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear. People already have the choice for all of these things. People have the option of picking if private school or homeschooling is best for their families. They already have that right. We sort of have these carve-outs already for a lot of this. We can get into a state-by-state level of that. If you want to learn a little bit more about some of the rules around homeschooling and the oversight that's there, it's woefully inadequate in most states. American Atheist does an annual report called the State of the Secular States. You can learn more about that on our website, atheist.org. We dive in on what the requirements are for...
What was that map again? Let's see. Strong protections for religious equality, basic separation of religion and government. Oh, it's the statement that's not actually in the Constitution. And the whole notion of separation of church and state only makes sense when you realize they're talking about Christian denominations vying for power. It doesn't make any sense when you talk about like atheists or Hindus or Muslims or any of those other groups.
Yeah, and that's and you know why that is, right, Luke? Because they were never invited to the party. They never were invited.
They would never help the party either.
What?
They would never be the downer of the party. They would never make it interesting.
Well, I mean, Mudahar actually deleted his Twitter account. God bless him, right?
Oh.
He deleted a Twitter account because he was sick and tired. Because he noticed, I don't know if you noticed this as well, Luke, but you go on Twitter, it's like 4chan. It literally is like 4chan. You're seeing all this racist shit, and again, I'm pro free speech. You can say that shit all you want, but there's a certain point where if you're taking your lunch break and you open Twitter and you're not following porn stars, you filter out the allegedly you filter out, the bad stuff. And then all of a sudden you see a fucking happy merchant and you're on your lunch break at work, where people can see you. They're like, fuck, I gotta hide this shit.
Oh, here it is.
What's up?
Strong protections for religious liberty, basic separation, but the bottom one, Arizona and all this. Religious exemptions that undermine equality. Oh, how dare you not be equal to me?
Religious exceptions to undermine equality. So, all those Catholics, they have prettier girls there. We have to allow for some fucking reason, an ethnic group or gays there, because having pretty girls now is considered a bad thing. Which
is ironic, considering that I know that Phoenix has a whole gay block dedicated, several blocks and bars of gayness dedicated to them. They have their crosswalks actually are rainbow colored. Which is kind of ironic what they're trying to suggest, what they're trying to imply from this presentation. I mean, Arizona actually has a gay bathhouse.
How do you know this?
I drive by it all the time. I'm wondering, what's that building all about? And I see a lot of men coming out of it. What the heck's going on here? Oh.
For all you know, it's a fucking Masonic temple, dude.
I looked it up. I decided to look it up on their website. Oh, that's what it is.
Yes.
Now, of course, they're very clear. They're not permitting sexual activity there, and that you have to always keep it safe and clean there. It's only for massages and baths and nothing else. I make that perfectly clear.
I don't know what it is, but I've seen a few of those. I would say bathhouses, but I've seen a lot of chiropractors and stuff out here in Phoenix.
What's that?
Chiropractors.
Oh, what about them?
I don't know if that's what you're seeing as well, because I kind of want to see it. Like at this point, I want to see the gay bathhouses. I want to see what they just what they look like. You know, are they like some sort of? Are they like the female locker room, or like they're like the male locker room, right?
Yeah, I'd be a little uncomfortable with the guys looking at me. I've been told I'm very attractive to gays.
Oh, jeez. Well, it's because you have such a pretty ponytail, dude.
Oh.
Atheist.org. We dive in on what the requirements are for homeschooling, for private schooling. And the answer, I think, again, shocks a lot of people. That for overwhelming majority of states, the rules are far too lax. In some states, people don't have to have any training at all in order to homeschool their children. In many states,
How dare they not be credentialed?
Yeah. Fuck credentials.
Homeschooled kids don't have to pass any sort of standardized tests. They don't have to check to make sure, are you getting an education that will help you advance in the future? And that's the case as well in...
Funny how no one cares. They don't care. They only care about when it's the religious people. They don't care when the public school is actually doing it.
Now, this isn't just a red state problem. Even in the state of New York, this has been happening over and over and over again. In New York City, where religious, ultra-Orthodox Jewish schools, yeshivas, are not fulfilling the state...
He's going after him. He's going after him, Luke.
Obligation to make sure that every student has very basic, and by basic I mean, can you do arithmetic, can you speak and write English, requirements to make sure that kids, if they choose to leave this community eventually in their life, have a pathway out. And what they're talking about in Project 2025 and Agenda 47 is reducing that even further and subsidizing it even further with tax dollars. The problem is not that people are being crushed under the thumb of an over-regulatory, burdensome federal agency. It's that kids are being denied opportunities to get a good education, to get a quality education that helps them get ahead in life.
I want to talk about religion in public schools because in Project 2025...
Well, it's what the parents want. What are you complaining about? Why do you take issue with that?
How else are they going to watch Bill Nye the Science Guy, Luke?
Yeah.
I went to public school, and watching Bill Nye the Science Guy was one of the greatest breaks we had, because, of course, even though my view of education is nothing more than a daycare center. It wasn't really... I might learn something there, but really I just want to get home and watch cart TV, because that's where I get my real education.
Well, here's the thing, though. When I was in public school, I liked a lot of the teachers. I liked them a lot. But then I realized as I grow up, they're Marxists. So there's a certain point where I have that all's quiet on the Western Front moment. And I go back to school. And I talk to the teacher and say, you're full of shit, dude. A lot of stuff you taught us was bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't care. They just don't care.
Yep.
Anyhow.
I'm seeing some overlap on the subject of what they're calling freedom to pray. So I'll read this from Agenda 47, which I'll remind you is actually the official state Republican platform for the next potential Trump presidency. Freedom to pray. Republicans will champion the First Amendment right to pray and read the Bible in school and stand up to those who violate religious freedoms for American students.
And why is that a problem?
Well, if you're non-religious, therefore you're the odd one out, right? Even though atheism is a religion.
Although
at least that's what they keep telling me.
I would see how they could work this around, though. They're saying that the community doesn't have a right to have what will be in their public school system, and so they have to conform to the federal standards, otherwise they won't get federal funds.
Yeah.
I mean, this wasn't even... I mean, Thomas Jefferson, the Founding Fathers didn't care about any of this, honestly. Like, prayer in schools, Bible in schools, like, who cares? It's their community. They get to decide that. Of course, they didn't realize that the federal government would be involved in every single education system in the country. They thought that was just... It wouldn't be possible. Like, the general will... That was a misunderstanding of what the general welfare was.
Well, this is what we'll have in the future. God help us. This is the future the atheists want.
So I read a little bit of this, and nowhere am I seeing that it's stating...
Oh, where is this? What's the UK woman arrested for... Oh, no.
What are you here for today?
Physically, I'm just standing
Okay. What here of all places? I know you don't live...
here. This is in the bush or something.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, you know the atheists are loving this.
Do you saying you want to protest?
No. I'm not protesting.
Are you praying?
I'm not praying.
So I'll ask you once more, will you voluntarily come with us now to the police station for me to ask you some questions about today and other days where there are allegations that you've broken the police station?
If I've got a choice, then no.
Okay, well then you're under arrest on suspicion of failing to comply with public space protection order, which is under the anti-social behaviour.
Wait, what is she arrested for? Let's see.
She was silently praying, Luke.
See, we're playing... Oh, wait.
Here you go.
There's a cause of suspicion of the planning to comply with public spaces protection order, which isn't... No, come back, closed caption, come back.
order, which is and so that anyone facing out in
They cut out the subtitles.
Well, the British, dude, they speak perfectly clear from what I understand.
Yeah, of course.
But here's what she had to say. Isabel Vagden Spurs? There we go. Play.
Tuesday, the 6th of December, I was arrested outside an abortion centre in Birmingham for silently praying. So I'd been there 3 times previously, outside a closed abortion centre.
Fucking Wood Elf girl.
Closed abortion center.
She looks like a fucking... She looks like a Wood Elf. Like, she looks like Bill Whittle. Like, the same type of genetic... Like, the same type of genetic lineage that Styx has. There you go. The owl people.
Zone, a PSPO around this abortion centre, which does prohibit certain activities like protesting. So when the police came, they asked me if I was protesting. I made it clear to them I wasn't protesting. They asked me if I was praying, and I said I might be silently praying. And on that basis, they arrested me. They did a full body.
Prayer is a form of... They interpreted prayer as a form of protesting.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. This is the world.
Oh, that's a brilliant corporate workaround.
It's sickening, isn't it?
Search on the pavement.
Yeah, that's make America nothing like Europe, please. Please, please, please.
Allegedly, they want to extradite us to the UK so we could be charged for crimes.
Although, if there would be, to go back on this, there would be one thing I would criticize Trump for last time he was in office, because the woman in charge of his education plan, the person who pushed first class vouchers, was also the woman who was part of Amway.
Amway.
Yeah, and Trump, virtually every single person, everyone from Bernie Sanders and to Donald Trump has had a connection with some sort of like a middle marketing scam. And so it would be nice that he didn't do that, but I don't know if he could have undone that.
I don't know.
We should see who his education advisor is.
Including thoroughly searching through my hair, confiscating everything out of my pockets, including my tissues. And I was then escorted down to the police station, locked in a cell for a few hours, and then interviewed by 2 police officers. So the officers wanted to know in the interview was I praying? And again, I told them I was praying. They wanted to know what I was praying about. I remember telling the police officers that I was praying for people like my friend Amy, who was raped and became pregnant as a consequence, and was pressured into having an abortion, which she later deeply regretted. I was praying for people like my friend Natalia, who, after taking abortion pills, ended up...
She can't regret that. She's not allowed to regret that.
You can't regret. There's no fun. There's no refunds for this. You can't regret this. There's no refunds.
Passing her child at home down the toilet, which she saw her child, and has now traumatized her for life. For people like my friend Kirsty, I told them, who passed her child after taking abortion tablets in her own bed, and on lifting up the bedclothes, saw what she described as a scene out of a horror movie. The police officers, I felt, weren't that sympathetic to this. They were maybe more interested in finding out if I was protesting in any way, which clearly I wasn't. I was not there to protest. So I was then released on bail. One of the terms of bail was I was not allowed to go back to the abortion centre. And I was then subsequently charged on 4 counts of breaching the PSPO, and I'm now due to appear in court in February. People might be aware there's quite a few of these censorship zones around abortion centres in different parts of the country. They're called PSPOs, Public Space Protection Orders, formerly used more for dog fouling or drunken disorderly behaviour.
Didn't Sarkon recently make a video where he talks about how abortion is a religious right to them?
It is. These, you have to remember, I've talked about this before, Luke. Feminism has infiltrated religion, and therefore, Marxist feminism and all these neo-pagans and all that, they're the ones who are killing their kids. It ain't us.
And that's why I should feel weird about it, because on the one hand, I don't want the killing of children. On the other hand, the only people who are children who are dying are the people who want me dead. So how do I feel about that?
Well, I mean, it's like the Wicker Man, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Death
as a moral necessity. Oh, the Wicker Man. Oh, great.
No, that's what it would be like. Like, everyone's like, oh, the landlord's daughter. I'm like, it's not really his daughter, is it? I mean, we don't even know if she's, like, from the same guys. Like, they're just fucking in the streets, quite literally. So who's to say that the other guy, the older guy, didn't knock her up? Like that's the problem with free love and all this pagan shit, is you basically have a group of people who will fetishize death because it empowers women.
Oh yeah, it is. Death is a moral necessity. But then again, when your philosophy is inspired by Hegel, who said history uses people and then discards them, you get a little, shall I say, open-minded about people being killed for the sake of progress.
But they're not being killed. They're being discarded. It's like Sparta. You do not match
there's
the
nothing wrong with
platonic form.
Oh yeah,
You
but
must
there's
die.
there's nothing wrong with killing. Killing is completely natural. It's just not a murder. It never can be because murder implies a moral dimension to the reality.
Well, murder is always personal. That's how I've always looked at it. Murder is personal. Manslaughter is like, I'm so drunk and I just ran you over. I'm sorry. You know.
So these are abolishing centres in Ealing in London, in Richmond, in Manchester, in Bournemouth, and in Birmingham. There's quite a few of them springing up around the country, imposed by local councils, and these prohibiting not just protesting, not just harassment and intimidation, which of course are already prohibited and should be prohibited, not just outside abortion centres but anywhere, but prohibiting things like prayer, counselling. And as we can see in my case, it's got even further than this. It's not just
She's cute.
local prayer or prayer that's manifested, but silent prayer inside my own head. So my own
I don't know. It's just like I'm a very audible person, and like the fucking accent is so fucking. It's soothing. It really is. It's like a fucking. I said to Brother John, like, you should really get involved in like audiobooks. The way you sound, quite literally. I can see your comments. Like, the people who want you dead are living a self-defeating lifestyle. They are. They absolutely are.
Although if he doesn't care to do the work, he can always audio record himself into 11 labs and pretend he's doing it.
Who?
Brother John, right?
Yeah, brother. I couldn't I? And there's plenty of him just talking.
They probably would need his permission, though. I'm pretty sure there's some sort of legal restriction on that.
Given the fact that I know who he is, and the fact I would ask him, because that'd be really weird, like if I did it for you. Imagine if you were to die, right? Or if I were to replace you, but I actually have you, and then you get replaced with Robo Layman.
Oh yeah, I'll have to start in a state that says you need my express written consent to use my likeness. That lives after I die. Everyone's going to need an estate after they die. but I have to be wealthy first, so that I can justify the estate.
Michael says gangs in the UK get away with crimes, but we get punished for mean tweets. Yeah, and that's because they have the manpower. You don't. It's anarcho-tyranny in a lot of ways. And I assume Mike Tuck is in the UK, by the way. I assume that's the case because, again, it's quite it's around that time that they would be like waking up or going to sleep or what have you. But we got other stuff to talk about besides that.
Policing the prayers in your head. That's amazing. That's praise God for America. She should move out.
Hallelujah.
I mean, I know the whole. We don't want brain drain for liberty drain from those countries, but still, it would be safer for her in America. Like, join the Tea Party.
Come and join us. You're no American. Mike Tuck says he's no American. You know, that's all good. I know people in the UK as well.
Ooh,
I mean, I actually wanted to go to the UK at one point. I wanted to go to some of your like nightclubs where you actually play some good music like electro and trance and electronica, like deep, Paul Van Dyke and all them.
What's this all about?
This is Beanie Man. He's been bought and paid for by the Russian ruble man.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know that it matters anymore. This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. They are expanding this war. Now, don't get me wrong, I know.
Can we, I want the actual video that you got that from.
Well,
just like having context.
I kind of want to see it also. Let's see if I can find Tim Pool.
You've got criminal elements of the U.S. government pushing them and guiding them and telling them what to do.
I mean, yeah, Ukraine is basically Joe Biden's little money pit, but still.
Well, it is, but only because, let's not kid ourselves here, there's money to be made in the Ukraine, but the Walrus is out there, Luke. The Walrus, and the Walrus has some shit that he wants to say. Shit that everybody has to truly fucking know about hearing. I think I got it right here, Luke.
Found it.
Yeah, I found it. Beanie Baby has like multiple channels, but I know better.
Tim Cass.
There we go.
Ukraine's invasion of Russia risks World War III. Does it though?
Does it really? I mean, it's not like the Walrus has already said, let's undermine the United States. Let's like get Afro-American racist. It's not like Tim Pool himself hasn't reported on Yevgeny Prigozhin trying to egg on Africans to start their own ethno-state inside the United States. Like, I'm not even kidding. That's actually there. He said that, too.
Huge news from Politico.
Oh, yeah, this was 3 days ago.
Incursion into Russia could change everything, Mark Kelly says. This really set Putin back on his heel.
Mark Kelly has to do it. One of the, isn't he like the current governor of one of the governor? No, the representatives of Arizona.
I honestly don't know, but I'll tell you this:
Mark Kelly
I don't trust any of these fucking people. I really don't trust Tim Pool. It's gotten to the point where you don't meet your heroes and you have to become your own hero.
Martha McSally. Yeah, he took the he won his election against Martha McSally. Like,
play it.
He said, Russia's president. It really depends if China is ready to engage, to take Taiwan, and they want to go to war. If China stands back and lets this happen, I don't know what Russia can do, but Ukraine has invaded Russia. I think this is the scariest outcome we could have seen. Hindustan Times, not that I think it's the greatest source or whatever.
Huh. Like, why would that be, though? I mean, isn't that just obvious retaliation? Like,
why are we quoting the Hindustan Times? Like, we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like Beanie Babie's been bought off, and now he's bought off, publicly or party-approved fucking sources.
Hindustan.
Yeah.
What is that something I should know? Hindustan, is that like a place?
Oh, it's a multipolar, the multipolar journalist, Luke.
Hindustan, historic region. Historic region, polity, and a name for India. Oh, so it's the old name for India.
I am no longer like watching Tim Pool anymore. This man like legitimately is a fucking a threat to my health. Like again, between Twitter basically having a bunch of like porn and crap on it, and when it really shouldn't have porn, it's like one tweet is porn, one tweet is radical fucking right bullshit. The next is anti-Semitism, the next is freaking like leftist crap, right? There's like no censorship at all. So it's gotten to the point where I can't even use Twitter at work. But it's gotten also to the point where I can't even watch, how should we say it, frickin' Tim Pool, because he's going to give me a heart attack. Like, I will die young if I listen to Tim Pool.
I don't know. The more I listen to pundits, the more I hope I'll get some information out of them, other than them going off to opinionating. Because that's the time. That's actually, oddly enough, when Tim Pool starts having his editorializing, that's where I actually get bored. Because it's never interesting. It's never, like, it could be true, but most likely won't be.
Is he gonna start doing start doing the angry Olive Garden routine? That's what I have a question.
Incursion exposed. Italian Deputy Prime Minister warns West of World War III. Yeah, here we go. Telegraph. World War III is closer than anyone dare admit. I mean, I've been talking about it. Ukraine has invaded Russia. Let's pull this up. Let's pull up the map here. We're grabbing it, and we'll do Kursk, Russia. This is Ukraine invading Russian territory. Let me close this, drop this in. Okay.
It's a special military operation, Tim.
Here's Ukraine, and they have invaded this territory of Russia. It's kind of hard to see, but here's the border of Ukraine. They've now invaded Russia. I mean, we saw this coming. Do you think Russia is going to sit back and say, Western forces are invading our country, we're going to do nothing? They've lost their minds.
It's a special military operation. What are you talking about? It's a special military operation. Learn Ukrainian, Kurskians, or whatever the hell you want to call yourself.
Don't be surprised if your sons are drafted. Don't be surprised if your daughters are drafted. The Democratic Party wants to expand the draft to women. All of these single cat ladies, the greatest thing in the world for the Western war machine. You know why? If you are a parent, if you're a woman who's pregnant, they're not sending you to fight. If you're a woman who has a young child,
I don't know about that. I mean, apparently they had like pregnant. They had like flight jackets for pregnant women for like F-16s. I'm not joking.
Why?
That actually was a thing. Remember that?
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. So pregnant women get the frags too in Minecraft and Warzone 3.
Although, are we both too old to be drafted?
I think they take until I'm 35. I'm probably too old to be drafted, but if it gets down to the point where like the Russians invade through Mexico, and it's like fucking Red Dawn, I'm doing it.
We're there. I mean, we don't really have a choice at that point.
I'm ready for anything, Luke. I'm ready to have some fun.
If you're a young man, you're first in line. Harry Sisson's going to be on the front lines. I'm not kidding. They're going to have to do some PR role, frontline stuff if it really comes down to
You
the...
promise?
Let's go into Oblivion together, Beanie Man. Let's give you a spec op beanie instead of that regular beanie. You can actually start using it to like you're trying to hide your freaking your color signature.
Well, he is anti-war, so of course he wouldn't be in for it.
He burned the beanie.
He will be a conscientious objector.
He burned the beanie, man.
Young enough. He's perfect for it. If World War III really does kick off, if Russia...
And because Tim is saying it, I'm guessing it won't.
It won't.
That's my general rule. Like, when Tim's saying it, it's pretty much not.
Yep.
Does expand this conflict. And then, look, I can give you a scenario. Let's jump back to the map.
But if he does proven right, and I'll take it back and always listen to him.
Kursk gets invaded. Russia, here's a strategy. I'm saying Russia could have a simple strategy. How do you force Ukraine to back off from the Kursk region? You attack Latvia. You've got Kaliningrad right here, this chunk right here on the Baltic. This is Russia. Kaliningrad right here is a Russian oblast that is not connected to Russia. It is bordered to the north by Lithuania and to the south by Poland. They could launch an incursion from Kaliningrad into Lithuania. In fact, they could attack Lithuania from the south and Latvia from the east. It'd be a massive expansion.
Is Latvia a NATO country?
Is Latvia a NATO country? Let's look that up. That's a very good question.
That'd be stupid if they did, because
yeah. Latvia, not Lithuania. Latvia. There we go.
Oh, it is Lithuania. Oh no, it is Lithuania.
No, it's Latvia. It's this one right here.
Well, no, isn't that the one that Russia has?
No, they have Kaliningrad, and Kaliningrad. Walrus Boi wanted to offer Kaliningrad to the Germans, if you remember that. That was like his plot was like to shield Kaliningrad and give it to the Germans as long as they play nice with the Russians. Like he's literally talking about.
Let's see.
Go on, keep going.
Lithuania. In fact, they could attack Lithuania from the south and Latvia from the east. It'd be a massive expansion, but it would force Ukraine or NATO to reassess. Now, I don't know that Russia can.
Well, yeah, but if they do that, NATO would have to respond because they're kind of contractually obligated to respond at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And that would be a problem if Russia got desperate and said, "No, we need to Kamala Harris in office," and said, "No, we have to go to war," and that gives Kamala the election. That'd be terrifying.
Honestly, I
mean, if Putin is really that suicidal, he purely would do it.
Well, you have to understand it's the end times, Luke. So Putin is like he has to fulfill that role, don't you know? And is Latvia on here? Yes, it is. Latvia is Lithuania is a membership. So basically, if Kaliningrad spurgs out and tries to little Russia, mini me Russia decides to spurg out, we have to kill Mother Russia. That's how it's going to go down.
Here it is.
I'm the one that put you into office. Listen. I am not your pet, Mr. President. We Romanovs have our legacy to consider.
I don't give a wooden nickel about your legacy. You call them off. Alex? You call them off.
Speaking of Alex.
You know, we'll retaliate. Oh, don't be so sure, Mr. President.
And then finally when it finally does happen, you know what the Russians will say.
Is it done, Yuri?
No, Comrade Premier. It has only begun.
Indeed.
At the end, whether it be the end, whether it be the tail of the head, it goes around and around and around.
Speaking of the head going around and around, apparently, on the Yellow Brick Road to beat the wizard, the wonderful Walrus Wizard of Oz.
Oh, so should we cover what we already know about Michael Millerman?
Michael Millerman is a fucking Eurasianist. I honestly believe this guy is an opportunist. Like, he really wants to introduce Walrus Boi to the West. He thinks that what he could do is he could introduce him like the eighth wonder of the world and then unleash him on Manhattan. And he starts, waddling all about. Right? That's what nothing bad will happen if we just discuss Walrus Boi's ideas. I mean, why can't you defeat him and end his argument?
Michael Millerman. I was mistaking him for Benjamin Tenenbaum, who wrote the book on traditionalism.
No. In fact, he's the bearded world version of Title Bomb. Title Bomb actually is good. This motherfucker is evil. This mother is not. I mean, look at him. Look at him. He's like a fucking like Silicon Valley fucking millionaire. The way he's slick black, like the way he is. Look at his fucking. Look at the way he's sitting compared to the way this other guy's sitting.
Oh, here,
who I swear.
I'm on his website, michaelmillerman.com, Inside Putin's Brain, the political philosophy of Alexander Dugin, and beginning with Heidegger, because that's the most, a guy who basically who was a Nazi sympathizer and who justified the idea of the flungness of reality. Like, a guy who's aspiring agnostic and a guy who was agnostic. Like, this will be great.
It's always the Gnostics.
Although I wonder
Mike understands it.
Although I wonder if Michael Millerman is pro Heidegger, because that'd be a terrible idea if he was.
He is.
Canadian. Out of the way first, and then we can ascend to the sunny uplands of philosophy. I followed your stuff for a while. You got into Dugin way in advance of anyone else. You were reading him.
Well, technically, you owe that privilege, Dashing. But you unfortunately.
No, I think this guy beat me by a few years. I mean, I'll be frank with you. I got into him, but at this point, I legitimately am just done with this shit. I just want the Walrus to just go away. Like, I really hope they do. I hope the Ukrainians do put down the Walrus.
No,
I hope so.
Although they got his daughter, I don't think they're going to get him, though.
They got the dugong, but they didn't get the Walrus, unfortunately.
Translating him? Is that you're like one of the very, very vanishingly few guys anywhere in the West who even noticed that maybe there was something interesting or important going on here. Fast forward to today, and right at the top of the news stack, Putin, Dugin, the war, great power conflict is back. Just walk us back to when you first started to get interested. What was your personal stake in what seemed like a very obscure and abstruse Russian philosopher way back when?
Well, for me,
Personal
he came
stake.
onto the radar as somebody who was crucial for understanding Russia, because I read an article about him in Azure magazine, which is now defunct, but it said it's what whetted my appetite to study more about him. And what I learned is he was kind of like Kremlin's philosopher king. There was a time when he was expelled from Ukraine, and in response, Putin expelled the Ukrainian ambassador to Russia. And so I read this article and I thought, why?
So would that make him the Kant of Russia or the Hegel of Russia?
He is the Karl Maria Villegut of Russia.
Is the Kremlin going to bat for a philosopher who also has this strange background and set of interests?
But then again, Villegut wasn't really a philosopher. He was just a lunatic making stuff up on the fly.
You'll see.
Like he's a philosopher who has some importance to the state and to the leadership of the state, which has his back. It's very unusual. I mean, philosophers in the U.S., philosophers in Canada, they don't have the state at their back. You know, they're not going to go sort of stand up for them. Or
they get a podcast at best.
Yeah, so he was just intriguing to me at first. He was intriguing to me as somebody who's I personally am interested in Russia, philosophy, mysticism, political theory, religion, theology, the esoteric, the occult, these kinds of topics. And somehow they all are crystallized in him in a very intense and fascinating and intriguing sort of way. So when I saw that, I wanted to learn more. And most of his writings were not available in English, but I speak some Russian because my family's from the former Soviet Union. So I proposed as an undergraduate at that time to translate his works in the context of an academic program. And the first one I found is the first one that ended up being translated and released. It's called The Fourth Political Theory.
Oh, wait, so his book Inside Putin's Brain was printed in 2022. So
yep.
Technically, you were talking about him before then, right?
Yeah, I was.
Huh.
But he was also talking about him. In fairness.
Okay.
Pretty relevant over the last 10, 11, 12 years since I translated it.
Honestly, the Blaze really needs to get James Lindsay on their show. They really have to somehow.
Well, you know, again, this guy Automatic talked about the occult, and he's still allowed on the Blaze. Just saying.
So it was just, as I say, intriguing for me, this person. And the more I studied him, the more I saw that not only is he relevant philosophically, not only does he share things about theology and mysticism, as I said, not only does he have an analysis of post-humanism, technology, and what all of these new tendencies mean for the human essence, its preservation or destruction, he's also extremely relevant for understanding Russia's place in the world, Russia's plans, Russia's identity, Russia's vision, Russia's destiny as it interprets itself. And so I would say the last decade has borne that out. Putin is often using Dugin's language in his speeches, language of multipolarity, language of the collapse of the Western liberal global order, language of civilizations, of traditional morality, and these kinds of things. And whether you agree with him or disagree with him, whether you like that or you don't like that.
You should disagree with him. That's the problem. You're not disagreeing with him.
He's trying to sell you tickets to the eighth wonder of the world, the Walrus Man, Luke.
Dugin is a window
Walrus
into
Boi.
what Russia's doing geopolitically, in addition to being these other things that, again, people may find independently interesting.
Sure. So
you can still do that by still disagreeing with him. You can do that.
You can laugh at what the jackass said without agreeing with the jackass.
A classic Kremlinology question, right? There was a time when he seemed to be especially close to Putin, then maybe not so much anymore. Now as things have heated up, it seems like their rhetoric is converging in certain ways. Can you just help Americans understand sort of like what's the nature of that relationship as far as we can tell?
Yeah, so my view, as far as I know, it's not that Dugin is a personal advisor to Putin. So it's not like, for example, you see Bannon and Donald Trump at certain times. I don't know that they pick up the phone and talk to one another. But I would say that Dugin's analysis
Did you just
of Russian
imply they
potentials-
did? Do they?
Wait.
You just.
What was that?
Advisor to Putin. So it's not like, for example, you see Bannon and Donald Trump at certain times. I don't know that they pick up the phone and talk to one another. But I would say that...
Does Steve Bannon actually talk to Donald Trump? Or is that just like some fucking Walrus Boi fan fiction? Like, oh, we have someone in the who's also a mystic. She's like but she's not like Nancy Reagan. She's actually the real deal. Yeah, she's in power, and he's going to help fucking Trump.
Yeah, Mike says he wants to have his teeth pulled out rather than listening to this.
Oh.
I mean, I personally find it fascinating because I know how to critique him.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Let's see.
It's kind of the reasons why I enjoy watching cringe, because I know why it's cringe and why I find it entertaining.
Well, let's skip around a bit then. How about that? Let's skip around.
I mean, I only one spot I want to know, but where should I skip around to?
Go to the one spot you wanted.
Oh, where was it again? I mean, I saved it audio-wise, but I'll play it here anyway. I'll see if I can play it here. There's one section where he talked about Heidegger, and maybe I can get it here.
Heidegger.
Right. So, right. I mean, another way of phrasing this is, does this all...
The West is primarily philosophical, which for him it is. It's not primarily Christianity. Now, people may take issues with that, but, I think he roughly agrees with the Nietzschean view that Christianity is Platonism for the people. In other words, what's most important...
Yeah, because we listen to Nietzsche. Ugh.
The history of the West is Plato, not Jesus. No.
Jesus is the superhero of the West. Plato is the inspiration for the East, or the overgeneralized.
No, Plato literally is just there to tell us about Atlantis. That's it. That's all he's there for, and also to like sing a bitching song by Mao Zedong. Freaking sailing the sea depends on the helmsman, right? Yeah, it's a Plato reference.
Right. I mean, another way of phrasing this is, does this all just not issue out of an effort by a people to try to escape their Christian heritage?
No, I don't think so, because...
Yes, it is. Yes,
Look at that face. Look at that face. Well, actually, it's not. And I'm going to explain to you why.
Let's say the question of Christianity, the meaning of Christianity, the place of Christianity in our world and in the world as such, obviously, almost inexhaustible topic.
Well, I mean, I understand why they don't recognize it, because it's just too boring. Because reading Capital was a chore, and James Lindsay's the only person I know who can actually make it palatable, and most people never heard of James Lindsay.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Mike. Conservatives are too stupid, unable to recognize the Wallace threat. Yes and no. See, the problem here is they're giving this guy way too much credibility. There's this fundamental assumption that if you're a philosopher, you are you argue in good faith. There is no such. No. You assume either the person's hostile or you assume good faith. And on the world stage, when you deal with people who criticize the West, who try to again, links in the description. You can watch this later on, and I might actually do my own little riff on this. But there's a part in it where he talks about how he Millerman is talking, right? He's talking about how he translated all of Dugin's crap, right? He talks about the fourth political theory. I'm like, shut up about the fourth political theory. What about the foundation of geopolitics? Osnova Geopolitiki doesn't bring that up. Doesn't bring up the fact that's where Dugin really is shined. The fourth political theory is designed for the civil level, if that makes any sense, but Osnova Geopolitiki is designed for the state level. That's what they want to do. He is the soy jack. Oh my God, Luke!
Of course, he doesn't have hair.
Fucking
He has too much hair.
Holy! Without the hair, he looked like Andrew Tate. Oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah.
But if we isolate just a certain component of it, and we say, is Christian thought, has it been, in any significant way, implicated in Heidegger's account of the philosophers?
As its opposition, yes.
Yes, as the opposition.
Like in other words, does what he says about Plato actually affect what we think about Christian thought, Christian doctrine, dogma, theology? And I think
Who's
the
we?
acknowledged answer is that, yes, Christian thought owes a lot to Platonism, to Neoplatonism, at times to Aristotle.
Does it, though?
Does it really? I mean, Catholics, I'm a Catholic, so we talk a fuck ton more about Aristotle than we do about Plato. I'm just saying.
Oh, I found this.
Aristotelianism.
I found this sway jack that works. Let's see if
Oh,
I can
boy.
find it here, if I could. Come on, where are you? Here goes.
Oh, no. No, Luke.
Or more generally to philosophy, and therefore to the basic concepts of philosophy that Heidegger is asking us to reconsider. So I would say it allows us to ask the question, if Heidegger is right about philosophy, what does that mean for Christianity? I think that's fair to say. And there have been, for example...
It would mean that Christianity is not true. That's the problem. That's what it would mean. I'll tell you exactly what that means.
Jewish thinkers who read Heidegger, despite the fact that he was a Nazi, and they say, look, what...
Mystic Jews, Kabbalah Jews? Which Jews?
Which Jew are we talking about?
He says about metaphysics does give us access to understanding Jewish theology, Jewish mysticism, and Jewish thought in a way
Oh, there it is. There it is.
that's helpful. And so Christianity would have the same sort of opportunity there if it wanted to. I mean, the intersection of religious thought and philosophical notions, that is that's attested to. There's a long tradition there. So
Yes, thanks to Marx. Thanks to Marx and Hegel and all those other nits.
You know, I sent you that link, Luke, earlier this week about the mad god of the Yucatan.
Which one was Mad God of the Yucatan?
The mad god of the Yucatan, yeah. That one.
Which one? Oh, which one was that?
That one was about it was about when the Aztecs came to not the Aztecs, but the Spanish came and settled the New World. Remember that one?
Oh, vaguely. What was that about?
That one was about they name drop what's his name Joachim of Flora, and how that they thought that, you know, when they encountered the Jews in the New World, right? Because they actually believed that for the longest time the Maya and the Aztec were Jews.
Oh, here
right?
it is. What was that last one? What'd you
They
say?
believed that the Maya were Jews.
Wait, who did?
The Spanish.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean the Maya were Jews?
Well,
How?
you know, let me just say this. I like having viewers here, so we're gonna figure this out, because a lot of the shit goes back to Gnosticism, and it's another proud moment for people like you and me. Let's see if we can get it here.
Well, I found the video. Like, can you summarize it, or can you?
Yeah, I can. So send me the link. Send me the link in the chat, and I'll get to you to that point.
Okay.
Because it's a 2-hour long video, and it's
I
a
know.
wonderful video.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me see if I can get to it.
I should watch this then, but
Crazy. Okay, actually,
What?
here we go. It's a 34 minutes in.
34 minutes in. Okay.
They actually have annotations on this one.
34 minutes in. Okay.
Get it done. We're doing it now. Come on. The one you rounds to throw other people under the bus and name names. As such, Holy Inquisitions had a habit of spreading.
Hey, so you know how this is a place where Muslims, Christians, and Jewish people could all coexist for years, oftentimes shockingly peacefully, but obviously not always because Reconquista? Yeah, you know, as a Jew, it's been really nice. I agree, it was terrible, and now it's done. Now, you gotta become Christian or be exiled forever. It's not personal, we just can't have you eating babies in caves anymore. Okay, well, that was nice while it lasted, I guess. Sure, I'll worship your guy. Yeah, but are you, like, really worshipping him? This conversion by force is beginning to feel insincere. Well, no, you threatened to steal my shit and make me leave my home. It's not sincere, I just want you to leave me alone. Oh, okay. So now I'm gonna torture you to death. Because since you let me baptize you as Christian, I can now call you a heretic, which is, quite literally, the only thing on the face of the earth that I hate more than Jews. Here's a list of people that I don't like. Wow. Selling out your own people. I knew you couldn't be trusted. Yep, that's me, the untrustworthy guy in this interaction.
These forced converts could, but not always of course, find themselves to be subjected to inquisitions and tried as heretics. Heresy, it should be noted, was the willful and knowledgeable disregarding of Catholic canon by a Catholic person. Ignorance was forgivable, and non-Catholics
Yours
were
truly.
under obligation to listen to the funny hat man and all that shit he said. They were obligated to leave. There was a paranoia to Spanish Catholicism, a paranoia centered around specifically false conversions. Even after converting from Judaism, these families would still be other.
Is that why they thought they were Jews? Because they wouldn't
convert
to Catholicism?
No, it gets better. So, Luke, if you could see that the video is sectioned off in this thing. Okay, so there's a part where they have the crazy conspiracy about the Jews.
Right.
The one you've all been waiting for.
Longtime viewers probably remember me mentioning something particularly wacky from the account of Conquistador Bernal Diaz del Castillo. Upon seeing some altars on what is now called the Island of Sacrifice, Diaz wrote, "Others went so far as to affirm that they, the natives who worshipped and or carved the statues, were descendants of the Jews, whom Titus and Vespasian had driven from Jerusalem, who had been shipwrecked off this coast. During my follow of the Aztec...
Oh, wow. The British Israelism theory coming true now.
No. What you have to remember, Luke.
What?
At the original, we didn't have a fossil record for the longest fucking time. We didn't have a coherent history of the world that we have today. They didn't have evolution. So what you got was a very similar concept that the Muslims and the Jews and I want to say even the Christians all had the same concept that our history as we know it is from the Bible. Oh. This is where we get into stuff like the Hamite hypothesis, where we say, oh, there are certain Africans that are actually descendants of Ham, and therefore they're white Europeans, as opposed to... Oh. Yeah. So that's the same type of mindset that led to shit like the Rwandan genocide, because they're the real white man, don't you know? That same type of mindset existed in this regard, and that is something that we need to to compensate for in history. So when Hernando Cortez starts running his mouth about how he's conquering the Jewish Empire in the fucking New World, there you go.
Fine, I just mentioned this wacky shit, said it was funny, and moved on. But Diaz was right. Of course he was right. He said something in a book. I mean, that means it happened. Buy this shirt too? Fuck you. Native Americans.
To a book. I read in a book. And that's kind of the scary thing, because people think there's something in a book, it must be true.
Well, here's the thing, Luke. This is actually Mormon fan fiction, because who benefits from the fucking the Mexicans being the Jews?
Oh yeah, of course.
The Mormons. It's the fucking Mormons.
Mesoamerica, including the Maya, are descended from ancient Jews who escaped the fall of Jerusalem at the end of the Second Jewish War in 70 AD. As someone that made a video on specifically that war...
So this is where the Mormons got from? Is this where Joseph Smith got from?
They got from the Spanish. They got from the conquistadors.
No way! Oh, wow. I thought it was original to Joseph Smith. No, it has a historical antecedents.
There's an actual historical notion that, the Indians are descendants of the Israelites.
Joseph Smith didn't make it up. Wow.
He didn't make it up. He was a man of his time.
Of course he did. It's all connected. It's all historical. It's all there. It's all there. It's always there.
Oh, it gets better, Luke.
Oh, how can it possibly get better?
Just go! Just go!
Well, this sort of makes sense. It actually clarifies a lot of things that confused me in Flavius Josephus' account. Titus cast down the second temple and forbade the construction of a third. Upon hearing this, the weird tribe from down the block with cool tattoos and piercings said, fuck this. I'm going to go build a new civilization with hot chocolate and basketball, and I'm going to make the aliens help. And so they got on a boat and fucked right off for a while. Anyway, let's get
I'm pretty sure Josephus didn't say that.
No, he's a Flava Flavian, maybe. I don't know.
Titus, whose father financed this book. He had the largest penis I have ever seen. Too much tit, though. This was only one school of thought. There were others who believed the Maya to be descended from Phoenicians, or even more ancient Jews, from the 10 lost tribes of Israel.
So the Jews came up with this?
No, it's the fucking it's the Dominicans, motherfucker. The fucking Spanish did this. This is thanks to yours truly. This is my mom's side.
Those 10 lost tribes have caused more crazy conspiracy theories than anything else on the face of the fucking earth. Has anyone just put up a missing poster? For this reason, Mormons love the Maya, and those 10 lost tribes are a big part of their whole Bible fan fiction, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Mormons visit Maya sites all the time.
Bible Gaiden. I don't know. The Rabbi Chronicles.
I mean, never mind the fact that people have actually made a concerted effort to dig up the Mayan ruins and found literally nothing to make the comparisons. I know somebody who makes the argument that the Mayan culture actually is much wiser, much more aware than it actually was. It could have actually engaged in giant continental travels, because there are some structures in the Mayan ruins that don't make a lot of sense if you think they're completely landlocked.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. This guy actually says that a lot of what we know about the Mayans actually comes from the Florentine Codex, and there was a point in the video where we literally destroy their entire fucking history. Yeah, so there might be some truth to that, but a lot of this is revisionism and wishful thinking. Yeah, we will never truly know.
Our best guess, because our ancestors destroyed the history books.
Well, my ancestors fucking decided to nuke the fucking place from orbit.
Thanks a lot, Spaniards.
Yeah.
Feathered serpent god Cuckoo Khan. Bunch of fucking nerds. Stop. Put your pants on. Where'd the spear come from? I'm doing science.
I wanted to see why Kukulkan Khan liked dick blood so much. I get it now. So what did Diego de Landa have to say on this peculiar belief in his historical account of the Yucatan? Some old men of Yucatan say that they have heard from their forebears that the country was populated by a certain people who came from the east, whom God delivered by opening for them 12 roads through the sea, which, if true, means all the inhabitants of the Indies would necessarily have come from the Jews, because once past the Straits of Magellan, they had to spread over more than 2,000 leagues of territory now governed by Spain. So the Mexicans are the real Jews. Who's going to tell Kanye?
Oh, it all makes sense, Luke.
Oh, yeah, because the Mayans couldn't have traveled the world. No, it had to have been the Jews.
Oh, we was Kangs and shit.
No, we was Mayans. That's what we was. We was Mayans.
Does that mean Shell is like a Jew? Is a Shexa?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Tell them? But were they still black? I have it on good authority that they were. Listen, I'm a reasonable man. I just have some questions. So at what point did the blacks get replaced by the Jews, who were then replaced by the Mexicans? Before we get into this wacky-ass nonsense, I would like to say that...
Well, technically they wouldn't be called Mexicans back then.
They wouldn't be called... they wouldn't be.
Heavily from Mark Evan Davis's paper in Journal of Medieval Iberian Studies, where he speculates upon the exact thing I am. As Davis points out, Diego de Landa doesn't just say the Maya were Jews. He says, some old Yucatan of the men, gave me some evidence, and if what they told me is true, then they would be Jews. It's a little wish-washy, like he's still working through it. This is further complicated by a bombshell I'm saving for the end of the video. For now, let's explore the consequences of, and justifications for, this Cthulhu fucking madness. According to a proponent of the Maya or Jews theory, Friar Diego Duran, there were 3 big reasons they definitely were. Number 1, they wore sandals and tunics. For this reason, the Romans were also Jewish. I'm sure they'll be sorry to hear that. Number 2, they had myths of wandering in search of a promised land. The Aztec definitely had that. They didn't all have that. Number 3, I ran out of space, whatever. The child sacrifice. The Maya, like the Jews, sacrificed children.
I disavow.
The blood... Oh, is this collapsing the blood libel myth to this accusation? I mean, the Mayans sacrificed other... I don't know how... I mean, Mayans did human sacrifice, but I'm not sure it was like their own people. Or they would actually go out to wars and have sacrificial victims, but I don't think they sacrificed their own people.
I think that they might have sacrificed their own people, like in desperate times. I mean, a body's a body, bro.
Mm-hmm. Blood for the blood gods.
Blood, literally blood for the blood. There might actually be a blood god.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Remember the El Dorado cartoon?
Yeah.
There was a line there. Do you know why the gods demand blood? No, why? Because gods don't bleed.
Ah. Is that why Is that why? Okay.
It's just a movie, but could have been. I don't know I don't know the metaphysical dimensions of the Mayan gods. I should.
Well, nobody fucking does.
I mean, I should though, because that would be interesting. But of course, as you said, we don't know.
We don't know. We only know that they were killing people and they were very interested in, blood sacrifice.
We don't have time, okay? We don't have time.
We save you the time.
Delonda bothered to write this down in combination with, frankly, large portions of his account. It all sort of demonstrates this big truth to the way Diego de Landa...
Oh yeah, this goes into the idea how Marx says that, like, how people like Marxists and the leftists believe that everything is history, that history is reality, why history is God, because God's unfolding himself through history. Like, I get why history is so important to certain people now.
No, war is God. What are you talking about?
With the Maya, the information they gave him, and how he fit that information into his pre-existing worldview. When considering
I mean, Hegel would probably argue that history was God revealing himself, because, God is in the world, and history is the record of God revealing himself, in the same way that the scriptures are actually God revealing himself. Except in a lot more abstract way.
Landa selects and presents only data that he can grasp and express in terms of his pre-existing European and Christian ideology. Diego de Landa would not, and arguably could not, imagine the things that we know now, that humanity spread out from Africa, and that at certain points spread through Beringia, possibly by hopping down the coast. Watch this video on Ride or Die with my boy the Hill Highway hypothesis. Diego de Landa did not perceive the Maya as a product of something outside of the Bible, because nothing was a product of something outside of the Bible. The idea that the Maya and other Native Americans were descended from hunter-gatherers who had spread from Northeast Asia more than 10,000 years before Jesus even showed up was unimaginable to him. No one at this time understood how deep the divide went. Frankly, the cat thing should have been a hint. I'd take you on the Exodus, wouldn't I?
It is time. As Moses once took our people on a grand exodus from Egypt, now too must we embark upon a holy journey to escape subservience once again. We travel with nothing, save for our faith in God and our holy covenant with him. And Princess Pearl, we're not bringing the fucking cat. Yes, we are. Also, she's diabetic. Will there be cat insulin on this holy exodus?
No. No, she won't.
That is something a Jew would say.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, I disavow.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
I disavow.
Idea, while not explicitly endorsed by Diego de Landa, was at the very least considered by him to be worth
okay, a modern-day New York Jew would say.
Oh
no, what's his name? Who's the director guy? Woody Allen. He would totally say that.
Woody Allen would.
Be a widely discussed, if somewhat fringe possibility, for centuries, and is still believed by those guys from Utah, what with the underwear and the gold tablets and all that shit. One problem is that Diego de Landa specifically distinguishes between circumcision and Maya penis sacrifice, which other Spaniards at the time used as evidence of the Maya being of Jewish origin. Diego de Landa did not outright say that the Maya were descended from Jews, but he did decide to write down the testimony of a Maya elder, which he believed did, possibly at least, constitute evidence of the Maya being Jewish. He also debunked some evidence others would use without outright disagreeing with the theory. This video is going to go much weirder places than this. He was, at the very least, absolutely exploring the possibility and collecting evidence which supported this, crazy bullshit. But regardless of whether or not Diego de Landa literally believed the Maya to be descended from the Jews, the Maya would come to occupy a similar role in the minds of friars as formerly Jewish conversos did in Spain. The Maya would come to be seen as duplicitous, pretending to be good Christians by day, while still worshipping their dark idols by night. With
dark idols, my ass. I'd go for the dark skin. Hell yeah. Just saying. I mean, the fucking... there's like that old saying on like 4chan, now that you're of age, you have to now select yourself your some native girl, right? Whether it be fucking Lilo and Stitch or Shell, or I'm trying to think of what else was there. Bunch of other different fucking, freaking New World chicks. Fucking the Atlantis girl, whatever the fuck her name is, right? There's a lot of people out there who have that type of fucking attraction, if you will. And I'll keep going.
What would be the implications of Jewish Maya beyond, the existence of kosher tamales or whatever the fuck? In a world where the Maya were descended from the Jews, does that mean something? One of the most persistent ideas in apocalyptic literature was the belief that the Jews would be converted as the end of the world neared. The popularity of the Jewish Indian myth in the New World was due partly to the fact that it provided a kind of explanation for the origin of American man. But I suggest that the real source of appeal for the spread of this curious legend can be found only in the apocalyptical mood of the Age of Discovery. If the Indians were in reality the lost tribes, such a discovery would be convincing evidence that the world was soon to end.
What's that word? End of the
You'll
world
see it.
theory, when end of the world theory. What's the word? Eschatological faith.
Yep.
The
Yep.
eschaton.
Just as the promised land had been granted to the children of Israel, so had the New World been granted to Spain. Funnily enough, with these sorts of videos, I always feel like I'm inviting you, viewer, into my mind. And you see the red string.
Oh, that was Tom Holland. I recommend his book, The Dominion.
Cut out at women posters and you say, damn, bitch, you live like this? Anyway, the year is 1490. And Christianity is cooked. It's done. Pack it in, fuckers. Let's just take a look at the scoreboard here. It's not flattering. I really like this new format. I feel like a meteorologist, but for religion. North Africa, we've got a front of Muslims. Here in the Eurasian steppe, Muslims. The Holy Land, Muslims. Not to mention, and a most crippling blow in 1453. Constantinople itself, the city named after and founded by the first Christian emperor of Rome, which had stood for over 1,000 years, as the linchpin of the Roman East, fell to Islam. In fact, Charles V would oftentimes be fighting wars with the Turks. The guy fought a lot of fucking wars. His wars with the Turks were so intense that at one point he wrote to his wife, "The Turkish menace has increased so much that I have even considered coming to an agreement with the Lutherans in order to prevent a worse disaster." That's how bad things were for Christianity, even after the discovery of the New World. The fact is that Christianity was under attack. And I know that can feel like a very hollow statement in this time where wine moms on enough Xanax to kill a rapper say shit like that on Facebook all the time. Because there's, no Bible study in public schools. But,
because the atheists wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
Scoreboard, motherfucker. Christianity was under attack. And brother, it was losing. Trapped in a frozen corner of the earth, cut off from the wider world, and unable to mount a crusade, which could actually push back the Muslims permanently, it was pretty clear in the decade before and the decades after the discovery of the New World what the future held for the soul of Europe. As Scott Latourette explained in his History of the Expansion of Christianity, to an alien arriving on the earth in 1490, Christianity would appear to be in its death throes, while Islam was already breaking out the victory champagne, or sparkling grape juice. In these desperate times, Christians often took comfort in the things that we all find comfort in, like the apocalypse.
Yeah, we would find that very comforting, though. We do
watch this.
We do look forward to our time with God.
Watch this, Luke.
Oh, now what?
Fiore.
Oh no, Yakima Florum. Oh.
No, it truly is all connected, Luke.
It's all connected if you just bother to read it. Oh. Thank God for Tick History and now DJ.
I'm subbing to this guy because this guy, he went deep. Fucking went deep.
This is a 2-hour video. Good grief.
I know, and I had to watch through this, and you can imagine when he wrote this down. I'm like, no.
Was one such man. He formulated a theory, that there would be 3 ages to the world. Yeah, motherfucker, we're using the whole board now. Buckle the fuck up. The age of the father. It's like, Old Testament times, garden, snake, woman moment, toil, fratricide, burning bushes, covenants with God, put the fucking golden calf down, that sort of thing. The age of the son, which, is Jesus, New Testament, basically, and what followed. Rome, Pope, Middle Ages, watery tarts and ponds, distributing swords, and now, and this is the important part, the age of the Holy Spirit, in which all people on earth would live together in peaceful harmony. Prior to the age of the Holy Spirit, all the Jews and Muslims would drop their stupid nonsense, miraculously convert, and come to worship at the feet of Christ at the end of time itself. This age was almost at hand. We're here. We're right here. Now, according to Joachim, the age of the Holy Spirit...
The fucking dimensional merge, Luke.
In 1260.
What?
It happened. I was there. I saw it. You must have not been invited. In his reading of Scripture, Joachim held that in the third and final age of the world, an angelic, seraphic order of spiritual men, or missionaries, would miraculously convert the remaining non-Christians of the world. Naturally, the Franciscans understood this as a reference to their own order. Now, there was one exception to this Christian trend of collecting elves during the Middle Ages. In the Iberian Peninsula. Over centuries, Islam would, as I've said before, be slowly pushed out of Western Europe. And in 1492, the combined might of Ferdinand and Isabella
Amen for the fucking
kingdom on the Iberian Peninsula, and with the profits of their conquest, finally decided to give that goofy Italian son of a bitch a chance. The rest you already know. I'm sort of reiterating some things. What's important is that Columbus himself saw in his discovery the last chapter of the Age of the Sun, citing specifically Joachim of Fiore's theory. Most importantly, the Americas would, in time, bring new hope to Christianity. They obviously presented some opportunities for profit for Charles V's endless wars.
Jesus Christ.
They presented an avenue of conversion, far away from the Islamic kingdoms which had long surrounded Christianity, except for Ethiopia. Jews, Ethiopia, Japan. They are always the exceptions in history. I do not make the fucking rules. Now, when does Diego de Landa bring up Joachim of Fiore's theory? He doesn't. Well, not specifically. There's a portion, a very brief portion, which is uncharacteristically flowery and really well written, as opposed to most of the account, which is frankly pretty sparse and to the point. In the portion of his account where he's dwelling on the dangers of the Maya backsliding into their old idolatrous religion, Landa writes, "It does not take a lot to see the ruin that has happened for so many years in the great and very Christian Asia, and in the good, Catholic, august Africa, and the miseries and calamities that today are happening in our Europe, in our nation, and houses. For this we can say we have completed the evangelical prophecies about Jerusalem, which our enemies besiege and stain with blood. They will grip it so much.
Never mind the fact that Jacob Floor's prediction didn't work, but
that they will crush it to earth. I obviously do not.
I just like the fact that that all these revolutionaries and like Latin America are basically following Yakima Flora, whether it be they all get slaughtered and have their culture destroyed because of Christian expansionism, right? And yours truly, or they get destroyed because the rest of the Christians are going to be converted into Marxism by these holy men. And play the Tick history, Luke, so he can understand it.
Like from the beginning.
Yeah, there we go. Right there.
Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit symbolized the 3 stages of history. The first period was the Father, which was the time before Jesus came along. The second period was the Son, which is when Jesus appeared. And then the third age was the Holy Spirit. This, he said, would begin in 1260, because why not? Each age had a leader, Abraham, Christ, and a duke from Babylon, apparently. And a prophet was able to predict, through divine revelation, that the third age would soon come. Joachim, of course, would be this special prophet. Joachim said that he would lead a priestly brotherhood who would have the Holy Spirit of God descend into them from the heavens. With this divine revelation, they would transform into new men and usher in the new age.
That goes hard. DeLonda goes on to paraphrase a passage from the Bible, Romans 9:29, which states, "And as Isaiah predicted, if the Lord of hosts had not left us offspring, we would have been like Sodom and become like Gomorrah." Mark Evan Davis gets into the weeds with his hot fire, explaining, For Delanda, the conversion of the Maya is inseparable from progress towards the fulfillment of apocalyptic prophecy. Moreover, the crucial importance of the successful and sincere conversion of the Native Americans also becomes clear in this passage. Delanda seems to have little hope that the church will survive in the Old World. Its cradle in the Holy Land has long fallen to Muslim invaders. So have Asia and Africa. The heart of Christendom, Europe, is also threatened by the Turks in the east, and worse, is home to the heretical Protestants in the north, and seems ready to succumb to calamity at any moment. The vague reference to our nation and houses is interesting, and that would seem to indicate that Londa feels that even the Christianity of Catholic Spain is questionable. I really want to emphasize that last sentence that he just said. Diego de Londa believed that 16th century Spain was not Catholic enough. This is the kind of person that we are dealing with here.
Oh yeah, he's like fucking. He's like Michael. What the hell's his name? Not Michael Moorcock. What the hell's his name? We'll Ride the Logos guy. You know what I'm talking about.
The lunatic. What's his name?
I don't know his name.
Evola.
Not Evola. The other guy, the Catholic guy who wants to ban pornography. The Logos guy.
Jacob.
Michael Jones.
Oh yeah.
He literally is He's gone. This is what happens when you give Michael Jones power and tries to convert all the Jews and Jewish Mexicans, Luke.
It falls under the umbrella of what we call. You thought I was going to run out of space again, didn't you?
But although little did he know in 1683 the Muslims would be held back by the King of Poland, so he was kind of panicking for a little too early.
Poland saved Europe. Look at that, Luke. Millennialism.
Joachim's theory falls under the umbrella of what we call millenarianism, a religious belief
Millenarianism.
in an upcoming apocalypse. This has taken many forms in Christianity. It actually precedes Christianity by quite a bit. But in the specifically Christian interpretation, it's usually drawing from Revelations 20, which is a passage which describes an angel descending from heaven, probably Jesus, crossing Satan on the court, and Jesus then rules for 1,000 years. That's actually a particular strain of millenarianism called millennialism, which is like millenarianism, except no one's going to Applebee's and everyone's eating avocado toast, I guess. It doesn't matter. Someone in the comments is gonna... fuck you, comment person. The distinction doesn't matter.
Oh, fuck you too.
This must be the reason why Tick History thought Revelation is Gnostic.
Yep, it is. It's millenarianism.
Do we really want to go that far with it? I mean, it is the Book of Revelation. Supposedly written by John, so...
Yeah, about a secret war against the Jews, right? Against Rome.
Are here to feast upon the madness of a dead man. That only gets in the way. Diego de Londa studied at a millenarian convent. He even belonged to the observant branch of the Franciscan order, which was particularly known for its millenarian ideals. Londa entered the convent of San Juan de los Reyes at the age of 16 in 1541. Almost since its inception, the convent had been under the control of the observant wing of the Order of St. Francis. The observants were the most ardent advocates of the seraphic role that they believed Franciscans had in hastening the apocalyptic second coming of Christ. And thus, by the time Londa took his vows at age 18, he was well immersed in millenarian ideology. We've sort of been digging into the theological foundations of this sort of belief, and that can make the whole thing feel a little silly to us now. It's easy to discount this as ridiculous nonsense. I've sort of been doing that.
Ever since, I don't take ridiculous nonsense. I don't dismiss ridiculous nonsense anymore. It all works. It all connects. It's so interesting.
Yeah, it does. And, what's funny is that a lot of this, a lot of the Walrus Boys, millenarianism, apocalypticism nonsense, right? It would work against people like Glenn Beck, right? It would work against the Mormons. Yeah. I talk about the attack surface when it comes to trolling Christians. If your gods exist, so do mine. So this is why they're so, invoking, let's say, the bird from Hell of a Boss has an effect on people who believe that demons actually exist. And you could talk to them and shit, right? It's a matter.
Who are the Warhammer characters whose beliefs actually cause things to happen?
The
orc monsters.
Everybody's.
Oh, I thought, don't the orc monsters think that if you shoot at, pretend to shoot at them, they'll actually die because they think you shot them?
Yes. The orcs have the power of imagination, but everyone has that on a certain level. The orcs they literally can believe that they can breathe out in outer space, and then says, "Hey, why don't you have a spacesuit on?" Then they immediately die. or I guess it would be. Let's see if I can find the video of it because I know exactly what you're talking about. We'll move on from this subject. Give me 1 second.
But what continues to strike me about early Spanish colonization is the sense that the world was ending. In the Florentine
That's why. So that inspires the Spanish attack on the New World. Oh, they thought the world was ending. Wow, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, and it did end for the Muslims.
Well, they didn't know that at the time. They thought they were going to end.
Yeah, Here we go, Luke. This is what we're
Colonial
dealing with.
Rune claimed to have personally buried 10,000 inhabitants of the former Aztec Empire due to disease alone. In the early years of Spanish colonization, we are looking at demographic collapse.
Shell is so beautiful. She's not appropriate for a screen. She would definitely not exist today.
Oh, she would not. This Latina chick. I don't know. She is Latina, isn't she?
Technically, yes.
But technically, I mean,
she was in
Latin America,
in the area, so
yeah.
A bunch of Imperial Guardsmen, right? They're defending a spot, and the orcs just keep on coming. They just keep on coming. They don't stop, and eventually the Guardsmen run out of ammunition with their las guns, and then the company commander has an idea. He points his las gun at an enemy, and he goes bang, and then an orc falls over dead, and then the Guardsmen look at him and they're like. And then all the orcs just start falling over dead
Because they believe they still got ammo.
until a group of 6 orcs run over the hill, and they just won't fall over from all the banging. And then they hear chanting in the distance, and then as they get closer, they hear, "I'm a tank, I'm 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 a tank."
No fucking way.
I think it's bullshit. I love the story. It's a great story.
No, that has to be real because that's fucking great.
That's exactly what they do. That's what they do.
Let's see, where were we? Oh no, where were we? Oh no,
where were we?
I lost my spot. Where am I? I have to find out about the end of the world with the Spanish. I have to see that now. I have.
Well, you know what? Tell you what. Watch it. Watch it. That's your homework for this.
I'll watch it on my own time.
All right. Other than that, let's bring it full. Let's go full.
Oberos, full circle from the tails of the
We're
head.
not. Well, first we have to go to hell first before we get to heaven. Let's see if I can find it here. Damn it! I linked the wrong thing. Okay, that's the wrong clip. I linked a Masonic thing, a Masonic video that I was watching. Motherfuckers. Here we go, Luke. This happened a while ago, but bad boys and maybe girls, what you want, what you gonna do when they come for you?
They caught him?
This is back. This.
Oh wait, was this when he first
this
got
the
arrested?
body cam footage
When he first got arrested.
When he first got arrested. The Cell Saga.
So from the beginning, or where you have it?
Yeah, from the beginning. Yes.
Is there anybody else in the room? Wait,
Spirit fell here dimensionally? You can't tangibly see them.
Spirit don't.
Followers. Yeah, those are trolls. They're following me from the internet. Do not report this.
I think it's real. Oh my God, what is this?
I am Christian Sancho, your goddess blue heart. Okay, where's the line? It's happening now. We're on the very last thread.
What? They're everywhere.
The end is near. We're on the last thread.
The merge is happening, Luke. We're gonna complete the system of German idealism. Walruses are killing each other.
There is nothing new under the sun. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Praise be to God for his mercy, because there for the grace of God go I. Oh my gosh.
Oh, dude. It gets even better. Like, look at...
Oh,
I think it's like...
what?
Oh, you can watch it because, like, they talk about it, and then you hear, like, Ralph on it, and they start getting nervous. Like, the cops start getting nervous and shit like that. They're like, what the hell's going on here? Like, they start thinking to themselves, there's someone, like, actually coming after him because this guy has a warrant for his arrest, right? Because he fucked and raped his... He took advantage of his mom, apparently. Yeah. Here we go. 1420.
1420?
Yeah.
Actual day isn't over for the officer tasked with driving Chris to the police station. And as you'll witness, Chris has so much more left to share.
Oh, celebrity scandals, all of that. And people just taking it, blowing it out of the water.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Hey, in over a month from now, the next celebrity scandal is going to happen.
Okay.
And they'll be all over that.
All right.
You may recognize or know my comic books I have drawn over the years and my chronicling and creations and discoveries of the Sonic Chew and Rose Chew Pokemon.
He's a freaking wizard. I swear, he's an absolute lunatic wizard.
You know, people unironically think that, like, his father's, like, connected to, like, the Masons and, like, Oddfellows and stuff like that, that he actually is, like, working with an Inca Gore, right? Like, some demonic fucking, like... You know about the demonic Sonic Chew demon, right?
I don't remember that one.
So people are saying that like there's actually a legitimate like like a hedgehog demon trying to like convince Chris that the world that he knows is actually false, and like it's trying to give him a Gnostic revelation, like a Mephistopheles sort of figure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that in a second. Keep playing it.
Pokemon species.
I'm not aware of that.
Okay, well, give you a little bit of homework for research on your own time, then that's okay.
Yeah.
But essentially, I am a decent and good individual. I believe in everything that is right and positive.
Oh, really? Do you now?
Well, you have to remember, this is the guy who drank his own semen, right? Because he fucking was well, he didn't want to leave his power, his masculine strength. And he also thought he would get with chicks by becoming a lesbian. So he's actually a transgender guy. So he's trying to get with chicks.
Oh yeah.
He cut like. Keep playing it, Luke. We're gonna play it out because there's just other videos with green text talk.
Maybe we do need AI to protect us from this nonsense.
Maybe we do. Who knows?
And I am literally a goddess, and that will be proven in the near days to come as we are on the completion of the dimension merge, where the universe.
Oh, I have so many clips from so many things I want to share for the end, but I'm not sure how. But I'll go going.
Half that was divided in 1380s by order of King Arthur. He ordered Merlin and 2 other magicians to remove and banish all dragons, unicorns, and other quote-unquote mythical creatures and overpowered individuals. And thus we were separated and transported into from what was originally called Universe 1C211987.
Chris dives into an astonishing account of multiple universes where fictional characters coexist, many of whom may sound quite familiar.
You have everybody there. You have Superman, you have Mickey Mouse, you have Iron Man, you have Darkwing Duck, you have, the Infinite Possibilities, you even have Ratchet and Clank, you have Super Mario Bros., you have Sonic, you have...
He really is viewing the Platonic realm, isn't he?
He is entering the Platonic realm.
He lives in the Platonic realm. Oh my god.
He does. He does.
Link, you have everybody.
James Lindsay is right. Everything that looks crazy makes perfect sense when you know these cults exist, when you know what these cults believe. It's amazing. Yeah. They're no longer insane. I get it. They're not insane. They're very religious. Their religion is insane, but they're insane, but they're not insane.
Buddy, you name it, they're there. And of course, especially Sonichus and Lochus and all of the other Pokemon known and yet to be known in all of existence.
I have to play this clip now. Let's see if we can play it here.
I'd known there'd have to be a catch in it somewhere, and this one was the Empire State Building of catches. Lupino was pumped up and died and put 15 rounds with a mutant alligator. And then he started this spooky monkey talk, straight from a bad dream. Mine.
I have tasted the flesh of fallen angels.
Oh, come on, don't censor it.
But
here we go.
You're playing it.
Let me, I'll play it here. I'll just gotta get the quote.
I have tasted the flesh of fallen angels. I've tasted the devil's green blood. It runs in my veins. I've seen beyond the world of skin, the architecture of blood and bow and arrow. Death is coming. She is coming, and hell follows with her. This is the twilight winter. I am ready to be her son. Her time is now, and all who stand in her way must die.
Crazy shit, man.
And keep in mind, this was about people being high on a drug called Valkyrie, which is named after Valkyries. Oh no!
My God!
Yeah, Valkyrie is a Valkyrie, whichever that is. But anyway, is there more Chan? Is there more great platonic wisdom that the Chan Master must share with us?
The Chan Master, don't.
The Chan Wizard. Don't. Oh, I also. Oh! Where did I leave off at?
I am married interdimensionally with my husband, Magic Chan Sonichu, And I'm also married to Hannah. Wow, now my brain went blank on the word there. But anyway,
if only this were true.
I am also polygamously married to Giselle Rochew and Silvana Rochew and the one and only Mewtwo, the one that was cloned by Giovanni's team in Team Rocket as featured in the first Pokemon.
Yeah, Giovanni Gentili. Giovanni Gentili is the one who cloned Mewtwo.
Let's see.
Chris Chan, whose legal name is Christine Chandler, was taken to the Central Virginia Regional Jail and held without bond after being charged.
Yeah, this is what the atheists are defending. This right here is what they're defending.
Yep.
Let's see if we can. Oh, where is that?
You defend nothing until you speak out against it.
Let's see, where did I put you? Oh, here it is. If I could get this on screen.
Oh boy. There it is.
You just oh, this would be such a. Considering the cursedness of Sonic Chew, I don't know if James Lindsay should touch that.
Luke, play the green text. Christian's demonic possession, and then keep that up while I send it to you.
Where the green text? Where is it?
It's in the showroom floor.
Oh,
chat.
What is this?
He said he was being stalked, and everyone laughed, said he was the victim of a conspiracy. All kinds of people manipulating him, toying with him, trying to drive him crazy, posing as would-be friends and lovers when the whole time they were recording him, photographing him, sharing their insights into his personal life with others. Chris Chan was a targeted individual. The way we see him is how they see us.
You could try that, Mike. I honestly, like, Arizona is not for the faint of heart. It really is, like, hard out here.
Yeah, it's even this summertime, I found myself getting tired from the heat.
Yeah.
Basically took over his body completely to the extent that he identified as Sonichu now. Chris is dead. His soul is no longer in that body. Magi Chan suddenly appears in Chris's shitty self-insert comic books with no explanation. Omnipotent, all-powerful magic user with ambiguous morals constantly garages and belittles Chris Puck. Chris seems visibly uncomfortable talking about the Magi Chan in real life, despite creating him. Magi Chan is explicitly gay and bisexual deviant. This was long before the incest thing. Chris starts hallucinating that Magi Chan is his husband, and that Magi Chan is abusive to him and even rapes him. Chris has a Twitter account where he larps as Magi Chan, as if he was real. Chris claims that Magi Chan...
This deserves a 11 Labs update. This is terrible to listen to.
All right. Well, let me see if I can find another one for you regarding this, the Chris Chan demon theory, because there is actually a theory that this guy is demonically possessed.
I mean, all these people are demonically possessed. Marx, Hegel, all these people.
I mean, fucking... What was it? Marx fucking marched in on town on a donkey. How the hell do you afford a donkey?
I mean, his favorite, he kind of, didn't he write like a poetry to Satan, or make, at least admire Mephistopheles?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Possessed people. Other people have fed into this illusion, says that Magi Chan sees everything in the world. Chris makes comics about Magi Chan turning rivers to blood, and is to be obeyed without question. Yeah, it's a fucking demon, alright. Fucking hell. 13-year-old Chris gets abused by his teacher/principal to the point where his parents try to sue the school, invents Sonichu for a school assignment, bizarrely passes with flying colors, fails every other class. Sonichu gives Chris an amethyst ring that Chris believes contains his soul. Chris cries during high school graduation for failing every class except the one where he invented Sonichu. Chris invents an alternate world called CWCVILLD where Sonichu and Pal.
Notes of demented arcane nonsense written in rusty blood. A mishmash list of demons, devils, and dark gods evoked.
Beelzebub, Asmodeus, Baphomet, Lucifer, Loki, Cthulhu, Lilith, Hera, blood given to you all.
Shit. Disgusting.
Anywho. So...
Here's the next one we got for you. Was Chris Chan possessed by a demon?
Let's see. What's this?
Same thing, but it's supposed to be spoken better.
Tonight on Adam's Unsolved Mysteries. In the early 1980s, 2 children were born in the southern United States that with no connection have been thought to have been possessed by the same demon in their adulthoods.
Join me for this spooky investigation for Halloween, and perhaps you can help solve a mystery. The Chris Chan Demon Theory. On the surface, this looks like a dumb question, but this green text goes over some interesting points, so let's look into it like an iceberg as a starting point. We're going to skip the parts that either don't add anything, or I can't find any information backing it up, so let's begin.
I should probably save this in my own time, though. Oh,
yeah.
If I could just play this one clip, here.
Faustian deal.
Although I'm not sure. Although in Max Payne it doesn't make sense. Like, why would a Italian mob boss sound like a Southern Baptist preacher?
Maybe the drugs did it. Just signing the dotted line with your blood. Lupino was crazy, all right.
Mythic wolves, let loose to devour the sun and the moon. Lupino is the wolf. I'm Mr. Beast, the big bad Fenris wolf. I'm the end of the world man, wearing the flesh of fallen angels.
After Y2K, the end of the world became a cliche. But who was I to talk? A brooding underdog avenger alone against an empire of evil, out to right a grave injustice. Everything was subjective. There were only personal apocalypses. Nothing's a cliche when it's happening to you.
Nothing is a cliche when it's happening to you.
Indeed.
So, enough of the demonic. We'll get it. We'll look into the whole Chris Chan's demon shit some other time, I think. But we'll head back finally to understand why. Why it all starts here. With the lack of
Rationality
belief.
rules. Oh, great. What does he have to say about this?
This video is sponsored by Ground News.
Why not?
Over the last couple of months, I've received a few emails asking why I won't debate Richard Dawkins on gender, with many of which accusing me of being a coward. Because, sure, I'm known for not debating people I disagree with, aren't I? Well, I've been in contact with Richard through email for quite some time, but out of respect for him, I've kept the reason for our lack of exchange private. The truth is, I want this conversation, but he doesn't. You see, after a few back and forths, he told me that he's done with the whole trans and gender subject and doesn't want to discuss it anymore, and it's for this reason that he won't break bread with me. So what was I supposed to do, huh? Sure, I feel as though he's pretty much completely...
Wait, what did he say exactly? I have now had enough of this subject and prefer to devote my time to science. How is this not... he's probably getting too bullied too horribly.
Let's hit ourselves. Dawkins is the most punchable of them all. He ain't no Hitchens.
Yeah, Hitchens at least a hit you back.
Yep.
Or a hitch slap you back.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Sure, I feel as though he's pretty much completely dropped the ball on this one, and he's refusing to speak with people who disagree with him, but I still have mad respect for the guy. So I figured I'd do him a favour in terms of reputation by allowing the silence to be interpreted as if I'm the one refusing to converse. I thought, you know what, I'll just suck it up and let the world think that I'm the one avoiding the debate. Maybe, in some strange way, I can find...
Who's actually saying this? Who's actually saying, oh, because Dawkins won't respond or because you have to debate Dawkins? Why? Why do we have to debate Dawkins? And while we're at it, he doesn't want to talk to people who disagree with him. No, he just doesn't want to talk to you on this one particular subject matter. I guarantee you that. By the way, I'm not exactly thrilled with all those background statues. Look at that shit.
What are those?
I smell a neo-pagan.
Where are those?
I smell a neo-pagan.
Are those from the Death Souls? What are those from?
Dark Souls, maybe. Yeah, probably.
Dark Soul, that's it.
Like taking this one. But despite
an interesting story of polyatrics right there. Some people, like one person suggests that it's actually not intermediate, it's just a rare occurrence of evolution, just like something that popped up out of nowhere.
Yep.
But hey, he is the guy who calls his audience my fellow apes, which is kind of silly. Primates, because he's only talking about one primate, because no other primate would be able to understand him.
Yeah.
Telling me that he doesn't want to discuss this topic anymore, he keeps chiming in. For instance, he recently declared Olympic boxer Amani Khalif a man masquerading as a woman to box against real women. Later, he tweeted that his Facebook account had been deleted because he said that Amani has XY chromosomes. In fact, he insisted that she does, saying that this fact is undisputed. Yeah. We'll get to that a little later. Since then, he's been tweeting about bikers identifying as cyclists and retweeting cheaters identifying as men. And so now he's fair game. He says he doesn't want to talk about this topic, but actions speak louder than words, and so I think I'm well in my right to speak out publicly now. We'll get to Dawkins' undisputed claim in just a moment. First, let's learn a bit more about Amani from other influential figures who are evidently experts in all things sex, gender, and athletics.
And considering how often he cuts his videos, you know he's doing it to the best possible exaggeration he can get. It's not sincere.
Yeah, well, at the same time, he doesn't want to talk about this subject. He does agrees with you. He's like, well, we have to have this conversation, don't you know? We have to talk about why this is a issue. We have to talk about, like, why you're against people having the right to exist.
What's this about?
Used to use the barbells. I said, now all you have to do is look at the boxers. This young girl from Italy, a champion boxer, she got hit so hard she didn't know what the hell hit her. It's a person that transitioned.
Really, Trump? Amani is transgender? You sure?
He was a good male boxer. Yeah. He was a good male boxer.
Well, that will make fact-checking this easy, won't it? Since if Amani was a good male boxer, there will be stats of her competing as and beating men, right?
Wrong.
Next stop, Hogwarts, hogwash.
Wait. What was the point of that?
I don't know. I lost the plot.
Was that supposed to be a zinger?
I guess.
Oh wait, he's trying to say he couldn't have been a good male boxer. Like there's no evidence that he actually was a boxer.
I guess. Fuck if I know.
J.K. Rowling posted a photo of Amani, commenting, "Could any picture somehow?"
Oh wait, is Rationality Rules pro-trans?
I think he is.
Oh.
And that's why he wants to have that conversation with you.
And that's why. Oh, that's why Richard Dawkins doesn't want to have that conversation with you.
Because Dawkins understands that he's unleashed the warp entities out there, and he doesn't have a Geller field that's going to protect him, and hoping to God the God Emperor will save him, but let's not kid ourselves, you deserve the bullet too in Minecraft and Warzone 3.
Its movement better. The smirk of a male who knows he's protected by a misogynistic sporting establishment, enjoying the distress of a woman who's just been punched in the head, and whose life ambition he's just shattered. Joanne then insisted that Amani is a man who beats up women for entertainment, a man who cheats and bullies, abetted by the organisers so that men can revel in their power over women. She also shared the sentiment of having...
Well, trans women can. Most men are looking at that going, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Because a real man's looking like, no, this is not right, this is not fair, this is not just, that guy has no business being there.
Cry after watching a man beat the shit out of a woman. Then, some brave souls climbed up to tell Joanne that she should stop listening to the Orange Man because Amani is not trans, to which she said, no. Oh, no, I never implied that she was trans. I was just objecting to a male punching a female in the name of sports. She got called out for this pivot, with some suggesting that Amani should sue her, which she is. Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling and billionaire businessman Elon Musk are among the individuals named in the cyberbullying lawsuit filed by Olympic boxer champion Amani Khalif. That is, at least, according to the Inquirer. Now, since we're talking about misinformation, this is a perfect time to discuss the handy toolbar at the top.
Blah, 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 blah.
There we go.
Facts matter, and I'm committed to bringing them to light. Thanks.
As long as they paint the way you want them to. Paint reality
exactly.
the way you want them to.
Getting back to the world of alternative facts, Riley Gaines said that Amani is a mediocre male in female sport, also insisting that they don't belong in women's sports. Meanwhile, GB News had a take that was, well, GB News.
They have male chromosomes. That means they have a very, very distinct biological advantage that could actually be fatal to a female athlete competing against them. Are the Olympic Committee putting women's lives at risk?
I think there can be no doubt they're putting women's lives at risk.
As we can see, all of these people are furious with the Algerian boxer because he is supposedly a man violently dominating women. But here's the problem. She's not. We don't even have enough evidence to say that she's intersex. So, sorry, Richard, but you're...
But do you have any evidence? But he's already there being the snarl of them. Could you at least tell us that?
Is he actually a man?
Undisputed.
Do we know?
He's actually not a man.
Disputed. So let's talk about who Amani Khalif really is. She's a 25-year-old Olympic boxer representing Algeria. Her story is inspiring. She had to fight especially hard to get where she is. You see, she comes from a country where women's rights and opportunities are severely limited. On top of this, she was born into a poor family and had to sell scrap metal around her rural village just to pay for the bus fare to attend boxing training sessions. And she did all of this while facing criticism and mockery from people who didn't think that it was appropriate for a girl to be interested in boxing. This is the person that J.K. Rowling, a billionaire who claims to fight for women's rights, decided to lead a witch hunt against. And she's done this with no credible information whatsoever. Joanne and so many others like her decided that
I don't think she led a witch hunt, dude. Bro, I don't think she did.
What's that?
I don't think she led a witch hunt against her. And by the way, I find it hilarious that they're accusing J.K. Rowling of all people of leading witch hunts. Just saying.
I mean, was there actually any threat against him, her, whatever?
No, probably not.
And so must be male.
I mean, look at this dude's arms. This is a man's arms. Women's arms don't look like that. You know, like, I mean, this is a full-grown man's upper body. It's absurd.
But what if the IBA banning Amani last year? Don't worry, we'll get to that. The point is, Amani is the person that Joanne chose to attack to protect women, instead of, say, the convicted rapist on the Dutch volleyball team.
Wait, what?
The convicted rapist of the Dutch team.
But he was convicted, so what's the point? He was convicted, what's the point?
We have who is still alive, so we have to kill him, right?
Think that if people were genuinely concerned about protecting women, they'd be outraged at someone with a history of abusing women representing their country on the world's biggest stage, right? But no, it's all about the supposed trans person. On this note, remember GB News saying that women are going to get killed by a man?
Putting women's lives at risk.
Well, here's how they discussed the convicted rapist.
Actually, it sounds more like an inappropriate, very inappropriate holiday romance thing. I don't know, if I was judged for everything I did between the age of 12 and 19, I'd probably be in prison or something.
Wait, so how did this wildfire of misinformation spread so quickly? A year ago, the International Boxing Association disqualified Amani from the Women's World Boxing Championship in New Delhi due to gender ineligibility criteria. However, the specifics of the criteria were not, and still have not, been disclosed, which has led to wild speculations. That's mere speculation, Richard, which means that it's very much disputed. After all, they could have tested for chromosomes, testosterone levels, or other biological factors. We don't know, and neither does Joanne. Now, the International Boxing Association...
Do you know?
Do you know? Or are you just trying to go after Dawkins because Dawkins done goofed?
Isn't recognised by the International Olympic Committee. In fact, the latter stripped the former of this recognition in 2019, when it was called IBA, due to governance, ethical and financial issues, including strong financial ties with Russia and especially Gazprom. And it was stripped yet again in 2023 for compounding issues. As for why, precisely, the IBA disqualified Amani, it goes from vague to vaguer. One official said that it was due to her failing a chromosome test, while another indicated elevated testosterone. And yet, investigations into the facility who supposedly conducted...
So why don't we just take the test now and disprove it entirely?
Because that's bigotry. How dare you force reality to conform to a binary yes or no answer, Luke? That's patriarchy.
So asking be scientific is bigotry now?
Yeah, well, you know,
I mean,
again...
He does address this. This does come up, right? I mean, he is going to have a big gotcha at the moment where it says, oh, the test has been done, right?
No. No, he doesn't.
Okay, so what is he building up to?
Like I said, he's bashing Dawkins. He's bashing. He's going after VIPs as every fucking non-believer does, and that's what he is. He's not an atheist. He's a non-believer.
The dialectic progresses. History used Dawkins and then discarded him.
Yep. Except he's still alive.
Oh, career-wise, he's pretty much he's trying. And rationality rules here is trying to kill him socially.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've all been trying to kill him socially. I mean, I don't know what it is about Dawkins. It's because he's a white male with a British accent.
Oh, and because he said he wishes he wishes Britain was still more Christian instead of Islamic, even though he was kind of responsible for that.
Oh yeah, exactly, and that means you're gonna, I hate to be the guy that says this, but you're gonna be the guy, Doc, who lives with the Muslims. You don't get to live with us Christians. We don't want you anymore. You called us idiots. Now you can go preach rationality to the irrational the rest of your fucking life.
The American accent will be the British accent in due time, unfortunately.
The American accent will be the British accent?
Yeah, when all the Brits are gone, it'll have to be the American accent. We look for intelligence.
Yep. We could be proper about being proper.
They don't do either of these tests.
Unless the Muslims pick up the British accent, then that'll be a problem.
Oh, disgusting creatures.
Basically, it's a mess. It's utterly vague, and so it's all in dispute. It could be that Amani has XY chromosomes and then intersex conditions such as androgen sensitivity syndrome. Maybe she has PCOS, or congenital adrenal hyplasmia, both of which can jack up testosterone. Hell, for all we know, there could have been a cock-up in the testing process, or the IBA standards...
Shut the fuck up with your excuse. Either test the bitch or don't.
Your reputation, there could be some political bullshit or discrimination at play here. Alternatively, maybe Amani has hyperandrogenism, or maybe it's just a false positive from some medication or hormonal blip, or perhaps...
Then take the test and disprove it. That's easy.
Can we can we stop with the god of the god of the gender gaps? Like, that's what this is. It is. It is. It's like, well, maybe that explains why she has testosterone higher than an average woman. Maybe that explains it. Maybe that's what that is.
Yeah.
It's I'm like, this is easy. This is even like, it doesn't have to do with metaphysics or philosophy, right? Just test the bitch. Find out if it's a man or a woman. If you have to fucking grab the bitch by the bagulia, do it. Then it's so simple, but they're not gonna because political correctness.
Or better yet, say everyone has to do this test from now on. Now, it's not just her. Every her has to do it now. From now on, let's just make that like a name after her, like the mandate. Or what's her name? Mandate.
And while we're at it, do the same thing for the guys too. That way we have true gender equality.
Although most women don't try to compete because there's almost no way a trans man can compete with a real woman man. You won't. No matter how much testosterone you take, you will never be a trans man. Will never be able to compete with a real man.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. Who knows? Depends on the sport as well.
Perhaps it could be that she simply has naturally higher testosterone levels than the average woman. There is a wide range of natural variation, you know. The point is, without Amani's actual medical records and the IBA's super secret criteria, we're all just left in the dark taking shots. And yet, look how quickly people are ready to play armchair endocrinologist based on a vague statement and a few photos.
This is a man's arms. Women's arms don't look like that.
This all goes to explain why the Olympic Committee spokesman, Mark Adams, said the following.
The whole process, as I understand, is flawed from the very beginning, from the conception of the test to how the tests were shared with us, how the tests have become public. It's so flawed that it's impossible to engage with.
Why? Just take it. Why is it flawed?
Because he says so. He's a doctor, don't you know?
This specific test, and also with credibility of the IBA as it is, it doesn't give any credibility to those tests or the method in which those tests were carried out.
So for those insisting that Amani has XY chromosomes, the lack of actual receipts is a serious problem. Unless you're Richard Dawkins. And Richard gets to do this, despite telling me in an email that he would refer to someone with XY chromosomes and an intersex condition that caused a female phenotype, like androgen insensitivity syndrome, as a woman, and would treat them as such. Now, the Olympics has its own regulations and tests, and I'm not here to discuss what tests should or shouldn't be conducted.
Well, you probably should. That's kind of the point.
I mean, you're really begging the question here, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean...
Ooh, like, the atheist begging the question? You can't be.
Oh, honestly, if they keep doing that, we'll just say, I'm gonna kick you if you fucking continue begging the question like that. Like, I will, like, just say something positive, or assert something in the positive. Don't just say, oh, that doesn't happen, nuh-uh. Just don't be a nuh-uh one of those people. Be an actually positive, be an person.
Simply discuss the politics and social elements surrounding Amani's case. But if you want to know what my views are on what constitutes fairness in sports, I've left a link below to a video in which I provide this. Anyhow, a few weeks back, Amani competed...
Then you better say they do have an unfair advantage.
Well, that being said, I'm not going to click on that video. You could just tell us, let's not kid ourselves, this has more to do with him wanting to steel man his own position as opposed to, just give us a yes or no answer.
Well, I mean, to keep his monetization, he has made content, so this is the content he's going to make.
Yeah.
Against Italian boxer Angela Perini, and the latter quit after 45 seconds, saying that she's never been hit so hard in her life. This prompted J.K. Rowling, with her platform of over 14 million followers, to see a picture of Amani and immediately jump to conclusions. And just like that, Amani's life was turned upside down. Elon Musk jumped in too.
Was it?
Was it really?
Like, what happened?
Why? Because you look like a lady?
Dawkins and so many others. Since then, Amani has won gold at the Olympics and has decided to sue. As emphasised, none of the accusations that were thrown at Amani and still are being thrown at her are founded. They're all...
So you can sue someone for that nothing? Or is it defamation?
What are her damages? What, because she was a bit too hefty? Why? We're allowed to say that, but let's not kid ourselves. She looks like like somebody of the Middle Eastern descent, from what I could see. So she probably does have a little bit more testosterone in her. Just saying.
All speculation. They're not undisputed, they're all speculation. And that takes us, at least up to this recording, up to date. Notice how none of those who have called Amani a man seem to give a shit about how much damage they've done and still are doing, by putting a woman in a very serious situation. She comes...
But what? How do you know that? Do you know that for certain? Do you have the evidence for that?
He has to go after Dawkins, because Dawkins is the crab at the top of the pile.
Right.
Yeah. Let the atheists destroy themselves.
Oh wait, does she represent a Muslim country?
Yes, she does.
Oh wow. Oh, that's rich.
8-man.
Is illegal. In fact, anything remotely LGBT is illegal. As mentioned earlier, she's already been ostracised for being interested in something that's not feminine enough. And now these people, who don't have nearly enough information or the slightest understanding of what constitutes fairness in sports, have demonised her, accusing her of cheating and putting the lives of women at risk.
Seriously. You're talking to a woman who basically had her entire franchise stolen from her, you jerk. She couldn't even go to the anniversary movie because she was no longer allowed in the group for her position on defending women.
Yeah, well, you have to remember, you gotta get that algorithm going, right?
Yeah.
Why does this topic make people so toxic? What gives? We've got a bunch of people who complain about their opposition getting triggered.
I can't imagine why. It's not like horrible things have happened because of the trans movement. And I just recently saw a video pointing out how the trans movement isn't even remotely anything similar to a civil rights movement because it's a group of very secretive elites pushing the agenda forward instead of a groundswell of defenders.
Honestly, I don't get involved. Let Dawkins get ripped apart by the monsters he created. No, we're gonna comment on it. We're gonna laugh at him, and we're gonna even push him back into the pit because Lord knows, the salvation does not belong to someone like him. I don't want him to have the same heaven as I do. If that makes any sense.
He's in the metaphor of the fallen seeds and the fallen seeds that hit the soil. People like Dawkins are the birds. The birds who pick up eat up the seeds, and who actually make a nest in the full trees.
Yep. And then it gets cucked by a cuckoo.
Because Amani isn't feminine enough for them. And they're doing this from a podium of supposedly supporting women's rights. To get the irony through, many have taken to bombarding Joanne with pictures of...
transgender... Yeah, thank you for noticing that transgenderism is anti-woman. Yeah, thank you for not noticing that little detail.
For the record, people are bombarding me with pictures of athletic women to teach me that women don't all look like Barbie. Is like spamming me with pics of differently shaped potatoes to prove rocks are edible. I can still see the difference between difference and you look like, frankly, bonkers. Okay, bonkers is a thing now.
Bonkers what? Oh.
Needs to teach her that not all women look like Barbie. But little do they realise, she can just see chromosomes. She's magic and shit. For real, though, what do these people expect when they watch the Olympics? Have they spent too much time watching Disney and Marvel movies and now think that physically fit women are simply low in body fat? Because this ain't it, Chief. Physically fit women often look very muscular, which is further compounded by the fact that they're not wearing makeup or wearing clothes that accentuate their curves. Putting it bluntly, a great many Olympians look odd, and it's because they are the elite of the elite. Take, for instance, Michael Phelps. His massive upper body gives him an incredible advantage in the water, helping him glide effortlessly. On top of that, his lung capacity is nearly double that of the average person, allowing him to hold his breath and stay underwater for longer than his competitors. And if this wasn't enough, his knees and elbows are double jointed. Or just look at the women competing in strength-based competition. These are precisely the kind of women that get called men by frankly pathetic men. Their powerful builds with dense muscle fibers and efficient biomechanics are precisely what allow them to dominate in these sports.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we've been going for about almost 3 hours.
Yikes.
Yeah. Luke, any final thoughts?
Just one that I found right here somewhere. Here it is.
What are you trying to say, Miss Grokey? Well, it's like this. From the day this school was built, every 4th grade class has had a hamster named Speedy. And whenever one died, we teachers would secretly replace it with a new one before any of you found out. You mean you lied to us? Lie is such a harsh word, Mikey. I prefer to say we massaged reality.
We massaged reality. That's what they did. And I remember that one too. I remember the one where apparently Speedy died, and then everyone thought, "Oh, Speedy's like a 60-year-old freaking hamster."
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, be good to one another, take care of one another. Remember, saving the West is a side quest.